I want to say thank you to all of you. You're excited. I'm excited. But I want to let you know, too, that I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that we're going to be going through all of these. What I do want to say is that there's a disclaimer for, you know, the slides and stuff, but I'm going to do a disclaimer on myself as well, because I'm no expert at all at what I'm doing. I use this myself. These are the things that we're going to cover are the things that I use in my own practice. Not everything, but I do use them. And so I thought, well, I'm going to throw it out here at you and share with you what I use myself. So I want you to know also that the illustrations that are here, okay, I'm trying to move the screen. Am I doing something wrong?
I'm trying to find who's making noise and mute them. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Do you know whose background noise that is?
It'll tell me in a second. If I don't hear it now.
Okay, I might have got them then.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to go to the disclaimer. Now can I?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I also want to tell you that here's a disclaimer as far as, you know, none of this is for diagnosing and treating and other things, but a disclaimer on myself is that these, again, I'm not an expert. These are the illustrations that you're going to find throughout the class are not mine. I found them on Google, and I just want to make that, you know, everyone aware of that. Okay, I lost my thought. So the illustrations and stuff are not mine. That's what I basically want to say. I don't want to take credit for them. I don't want to take credit for anything. Actually, the information that I found also here is found online in different places, and I do have, at the end of the slides, I do have all of the resources where you can find them, including the videos that we're going to look at today. So I just want to make that clear because, like I said, these are things that I do, and you can see in the statement right here that the statements and information provided are based on practitioner experience. They're not regulated or approved by FDA. So I just want you to understand that. Okay, I'm excited about getting going. The first thing is what is kinesiology? Kinesiology is a non-invasive way to evaluate the body's imbalances and assessing its needs. So basically muscle testing, okay, but there are several different ways to do things. It involves testing a particular muscle. Let's say you're using the arms. You're going to use the shoulder muscles and part of the back muscle. And you're going to use that. You're going to apply some pressure, and it's going to give you a negative response or a positive response, and we'll get into that a little bit later. What happens is that when you're doing that, it provides information about a particular organ, a particular system in the body, et cetera, et cetera. It provides information where there's energy blockages, where there's the health and function of the organ, nutritional deficiencies, which is where we will probably use it most as iridologists and practitioners. It can help with food sensitivities, allergies. I mean, there's tons of different things that you can use muscle testing for. So there's a wide, wide world that's opened up to us just through kinesiology. A lot of people think that kinesiology, as soon as you start telling them about muscle testing or you say that word, they think of voodoo. Oh, it's like, oh my gosh, you can't use that. That's weird, especially in the Christian realm for some reason. I have people that say, well, I'll just muscle test you. And they look at me. I mean, their eyes get, you know, giant. It's like they've got one eye in their head or something. But it's not. It's really a very traditional pattern that's been used for several years now to be able to help with people's health. Matter of fact, if you go to school for kinesiology, it takes about 4 years just to take kinesiology itself to become a physical therapist, a therapist for sports medicine. Those are the areas that kinesiology is used most. But in the health world, we use it to test body responses for herbs and remedies. And you can see right here that it's used for herbs and remedies. And I use it a lot in this area because I'll be working with someone and they're telling me something and they're saying, but what I'm using is not working. Let's test it. So we take that product, put it up to their sternum, and do some testing, which we'll see later in the slides. So that's where you and I are going to use it, is right here. Okay? So another name for kinesiology is muscle response testing, or MRT, also known as muscle testing. Here's the cool thing that I like. It uses our electrical system. And we're going to see how that works in relationship to when we're testing for remedies and herbs and supplements. And if you've ever seen like a short circuit right here, if you take take one of these wires off right here and you disconnect it, that light bulb goes out. Well, when there's a blockage in the energy system, then something's off and you need to supplement in order to get it going. You need to get that place back and you get it back in balance. Does that make sense? Am I making sense at all?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just want to make sure that I'm making sense and not rambling. Here's the other really cool thing that I enjoy is I enjoy teaching children. They soak it up like a sponge. They can do the sway test like no tomorrow. And the reason being is they have no doubt in their mind whatsoever. Where when you're working with adults sometimes, they have a little bit of doubt. And if there's doubt, you have negative thought. You have negativity, which again takes this right here and takes that off to where you're getting no light shining. So that doubt, that negativity will obviously stop that thought pattern, and the electrical system gets shorted out in the body. So I love teaching kids because they're so open to this. So you that have children, once you learn the sway test, start teaching your children, because they will be able to test things that they in their own life, such as supplements or different things, you know, as they grow. It's exciting. Okay, here we go. A brief explanation of kinesiology, and I know this looks all factual and everything, but bottom line is there's several different types of kinesiology. The applied kinesiology is basically where we will work out of as practitioners, or iridologists, or in any other holistic field. It's a practice of using manual muscle. Like I said, if you're testing with the arm, you're going to use the shoulder muscles and part of the back muscle to test with. And all it does is determine where you need help. It gives feedback. It gives your body feedback. And we'll see how that works a little bit more later on. If you go into any chiropractor office that uses holistic medicine that also has an ND, and ask about kinesiology or muscle testing, and you get to talking about them, the word they drop every time is Dr. George Goodheart. He's the father of applied kinesiology, is what they tell you. I work with several NDs here in town. Throughout the years I have, and that's where I first heard Dr. George Goodheart's name. But he originated applied kinesiology, or kinesiology in itself, in 1964. And what he found was that when he was working with different muscles, that it was connected to, he could find out that it was connected to corresponding organs, which is like, okay, this is the part that I get excited about. Because I'm like, okay, your muscle testing, okay, those muscles correspond with different organs in the body. That means that they also correspond with different systems in the body. And so when you're using kinesiology or muscle testing, the indicator muscle that you're working with, well, uses the meridians in the body, which if you understand meridians, it's energy pathways. So I get excited over this, big time, okay, because this has opened up a place where it takes a lot of guesswork out of what we're doing. And it really helps us. And I'm going to show you a couple things here in a few minutes, but he found that when you work with a particular muscle, or just muscle testing in general, and you're finding out and you're testing. So here's what I would do basically. I would take and have the person's arms out, their other arm is usually down to their side, and I would ask them, when I push down, and I only use my three first fingers, my index finger, my pointer finger, and the next one. And you just slightly, it's not really a push, you just kind of slightly hit, put some pressure on that person's wrist, and if it goes down, it's usually a negative. So I would be testing, if I were testing, I would start up at the brain area and put my finger at the brain. and I would push down on that person, and I would go down to the throat, and then down to the sternum, down to the kidney and liver area, and even the spleen, and test for different things, adrenals, all of that. And that's what he found, that, you know, when he was determining these muscles right here in this area, that he could actually find out what was going on. So then he could take supplements and he could put them in that person's hand. They would put them up by their sternum, and he would do muscle testing again, which you're going to see in a video here pretty soon. But he would do the muscle testing more, and he would find out which product was actually testing stronger, and then he would eliminate a guesswork, which saved a lot of money and a lot of time. Okay, so that's what's exciting about this part. Now, let me see what slide's going next.
Can I say something that you said,
Absolutely.
but I just want to really emphasize it?
Mm-hmm.
Because the first couple of times that I took a kinesiology class, I didn't pick up on this. Whenever you said you just gently, you don't push hard, you just gently.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
thought it was, can I overpower you?
Mm-hmm.
And people will act like that too, especially guys. They don't want you to come down, so they don't do it just as testing, they do it as a challenge.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, was a big part of why I had a hard time doing the kinesiology. So I'm glad you said you just do it very gently.
And you know, here's the really cool thing. You're talking about guys overpowering and stuff. I work with a lot of bodybuilders. In this area, there seems to be a lot of bodybuilders. But my daughter's a personal trainer, so I get a lot of referrals from her. But sorry, okay, so I'm working with these guys, and I'll go to try to push their hand down, and they're trying to, like you said, try to power you out. And it's funny because if I'll say something like, I'll say that this person's name is Victoria, their arm will go down, and they're like looking at me going, no way, that cannot happen. Not at all. And I'm like, sure it can, because there's a negative, because you, first off, your name is not Victoria. Now let me say your name. Your name is Cliff. And I can't move that. I don't care what I do. It's like I cannot move that arm. But they are thrown off the side of the boat when my three little fingers can push their arm down, and that big old bodybuilder cannot hold that arm up. So you don't need a lot of pressure. When there's a negative, like going back to that light bulb again, when you have a negative, it takes that power away. So that you need to remember that you don't need a lot of pressure at all. So, Mary, someone just texted me that needed the password, so do you mind if will you say something?
Sure, I'll try to be brilliant. I'm not very brilliant about kinesiology. I'll tell you how I got into kinesiology, because I thought it was a bunch of flooey. And one time I bought like $1,500 worth of herbs, and my son was helping me unpack them because they were a bunch of peanuts. And he's going from he's using his right hand. Then all of a sudden he's holding a bottle in his right hand, and he's reaching over with his left hand, knocking things all over the place because he had to go awkwardly. And he wouldn't let go of the bottle. So I grabbed the bottle. I said, cut that out. And I put it beside me. He started unpacking again. All of a sudden, he's doing the same thing with his left hand. I grabbed the bottle. I said, you don't want to help me, just go. And I put the bottle beside me, and he left. I thought he was just messing around because my son used to do that. After I had everything out of the peanuts, I was going through the inventory to make sure that I had everything, and I couldn't find 2 bottles of false unicorn. And I thought, well, wait a minute. The false unicorn, you know, where did it go? And I looked beside me, and those were the 2 bottles he had held on to. And he wasn't reading the bottles. He was just unpacking without looking at the bottles, just taking them out of the peanuts. So I thought, well, I told someone, they said, well, that's kinesiology. His body knew that he needed it. What I did, and I said, well, you can't do it through a bottle. So I took the bottle out. I washed the bottle. I had 2 bottles, washed them together. I put raw meat in one bottle and nothing in the other bottle. And I left it out, and my dog, we left it on the floor, and my dog tried to get just in the one that had the meat. So I thought, well, a dog can sense that there's something in the one and not the other. And I gave my son the false unicorn, and he did better on that herb than any herb I've ever given to him up to that point.
It's amazing.
Yeah, okay. Was that
Absolutely.
enough?
Yeah, that's great. I love it. I want more of that. Raven's asking, how far down do you push to get the information you need? You don't have to push hardly at all. You just push, I mean, you just put some slight little bit of movement on it and it's going to go down. And so it's nothing at all. It's not like there's a big, like you go a quarter of an inch. Just push it down and it'll go. You'll see the difference. Just start practicing with family and friends because yeah, it's interesting. So what about someone that's weak? You want to hold their shoulder. So what you're going to do is stand in front of them, hold their arm out, or you're going to learn some other things with their fingers. So that'll help as well too. If you're working with older people, it is very difficult. You can also proxy, which we'll get into in a little while. So remind me with that. Is the muscle supposed to lock when you go down so far? No, actually, it's not going to go anywhere, so you're not going to push that hard to lock anything. You're just going to push, and it's not going to go. If you push and give it a negative or a negative statement, it's going to go. It's just too interesting. I mean, it's just the way it works, and it takes sometimes a lot of practice. I had to practice a lot, and one of the first things that happened is when I first started is I had a real hard time with the arm and the fingers. So I'm going to teach you sway test because it's so much easier, and especially for elderly people. So the sway test is so much easier. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. Good questions, though. And I appreciate the questions because that's what's going to make the class. I agree with Mary. It's hard. And I was explaining to her yesterday, I said, keep me on track because I'm so used to seeing people and looking them in the face. And when I'm just staring here weirdly talking to a screen and looking at a computer screen, it's like, okay, is there anybody out there? So ask those questions. So yeah. Okay, so applied kinesiology and chiropractic. Okay, I want to really get into this a few minutes because kinesiology is a thing by itself. But when you're muscle testing, if your body's out of balance emotionally, chemically and structurally, that will throw off a test, a muscle test, because the body is made of electrical current. We have vibration, and we have vibration for every organ has its own vibration. And so if we're out of balance, then we get a false muscle test. So we want to talk with, or we not talk, but we want to work with the other parts of the body. So that's why I want to bring in the relationship between a few other things, and chiropractic is one of them. If you see right here this little triad thing, that's what basic kinesiology is based on, is the chemical, the mental, and the structural balance. If one of those components is out of balance, it can cause the entire body to go out. Okay. Now I'm going to bring something up here, and if Mary, if you'll give me the screen for just a second, I want to bring a couple pictures up.
Okay, yeah. Just give me a second here.
While she's doing that, this is my daughter, my granddaughter. This is her, not the other one. Let's see, how do I get to that? All these little boxes I've got on my screen are in my way. It's like, you can't see them maybe, I don't know. But
No, we can't.
yeah. Okay, that's what I want to show you right here. This is what happens when a body's out of balance. You can see all of her organs are pushed completely over to the side, and her little spine is twisted. Well, before she had her surgery, this is what she looked like. And the bottom part of her body, her hip area, was twisted to the right, but the whole torso area was twisted to the left. So it was actually suffocating those organs. And you can see right here where her little body, her little spine is out of whack. Well, right in this area, can you see my cursor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right in this area here, you can see where there's some differentiation in the spine and how it's opened up. You can even see right here where it's opened up. And so it causes an imbalance. Okay, obviously, if you're looking at this, can you tell me that this is a healthy person? I mean, just looking at it, would this be? Yeah, absolutely. This little body can't go potty. This little body can't assimilate food properly. She can't barely breathe. She is sick all the time. She's in the doctors. Okay, after the surgery, let's see if I can get that one. this is how those organs align. And you can see the bar that was put in right down her spine. It was attached to her spine. And look at these organs, how they now are all in alignment. So after the surgery, she's now able to go potty better, not like she, not as clear as she was, but she can go potty better. She's able to keep things down longer without bringing them back up. She can't bring them back up. She's had a surgery, but she gets sick. So, and she's been less sick since the surgery than she ever has in her little 12 years. So it's pretty amazing what chiropractic, and I say that this was partly chiropractic, yes, but what I wanted, my whole basis is to see how when everything's in alignment, how much better everything is. So even if you have a slight curvature to your body and you've got some chiropractic things out, even your neck or the atlas and all of that, it affects how muscle testing is going to be affected. So it's important to deal with chiropractic as well. How do I give you back the screen?
I have to do it.
Okay.
You see it?
Yes. So does that make sense to everyone? Am I clear enough when I'm talking, or am I just rambling?
No, you're
okay.
clear.
Oh, okay. Okay. So with that in mind, if you go down, if you have with chiropractic, you have where you can see results in anything: chronic pain, disease, anxiety, depression. I mean, it's all right there. So. Oh boy, I have people going, I don't have passwords. Okay, let me just say I sent it in an email. Okay, so going back on track here is like the result in anything from chronic pain, disease, anxiety, and depression can cause havoc in the body. So this is where chiropractic comes into bear. Now you're saying, well, what does that have to do with kinesiology? Again, when you're doing a muscle testing, if things are out of whack, you get the wrong response. Now, I want to make clear though that the response that you get, even though you have chiropractic out and you have some other things, emotional things, because everybody's got that, even though those things are out of place, you can still get a decent response to what will work for you at that time as far as supplements and herbs. So I need you to understand that. It's like you don't have to go and get chiropractic in order for muscle testing to work. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you have chiropractic and you muscle test, you get a clearer test with your muscle test that's going to be able to give you the better supplement that might have been a second supplement if you didn't have chiropractic or if you were out of balance. Did that make sense?
I would do that one again.
Okay, so what I want to make clear is that you don't have to have chiropractic in order to muscle test. All it's going to do is enhance your muscle test, that it's going to be the more optimal choice if you're in balance, if you're using supplements and trying to find herbs that's going to work with your particular health problems. So you're going to get a good response even if you haven't had chiropractic, but if you're keeping yourself balanced, you're going to get an even better to bring you a more optimal health. Does that make sense?
Hang on a second here. I have to end show for a minute because my thing went away. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I can't see what anybody's saying.
They're saying yes.
Saying yes.
Yes. Okay. So, so keeping that in mind, I just want you to understand that you don't have to get chiropractic care in order to muscle test and have a correct testing. It's just that it will enhance it so that you can have more optimal health. That's all. It's pretty basic. So, okay. So the basic principle behind muscle testing or kinesiology is getting to the root of the problem, and the root of the problem could be something way different than what you think. So let's go to traditional medicine a minute. Traditional medicine, and I'm not pouncing on traditional medicine at all. traditional medicine works with symptomatic, so they work with symptoms. So when you go to a doctor, you say, I don't feel good, I have this, I have that. So they look at your symptoms, and without even sometimes touching you anymore, what they do is they just write you a prescription and send you out the door. So with holistic medicine and using kinesiology, you can do some testing and make some statements to find out, well, what the root problem is. And instead of working with just treating the symptoms, you're going to find out where the bottom line is and work with that. So that's the basis of working with all of this. And I love it because it just takes a lot of guesswork out.
There was a comment up earlier. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get it. This is from Susan Young. When harvesting medicinal herbs, sometimes I notice I'm suddenly feeling like Superwoman. Fabulous mood, invincible, body is nimble and strong. It's like a sudden high, but it can't be planned or predicted. So it must be what I am needing at that particular time.
Correct. That is correct. So what you're going to be using at that time is exactly what you're going to muscle test for. Did that answer the question? Let me go back up and look at it real fast. So, okay, Susan, so I get it. So when you're harvesting those things and you're muscle testing for it, those are what you need at that particular time. However, let me tell you something, that if there's an emotional upset, if there's something else going on, different things like that, or you've been exposed to chemicals and stuff, sometimes you can test for something one day and then the next day it can be something different. So it just depends. You kind of have to be careful because people get carried away with muscle testing. They'll go ahead and muscle test and then they're like, but it didn't work for me today. Well, here's what I do. And I don't know if this is answering your question. When I get up in the morning, there are sometimes I don't need certain things, so I'll muscle test all my pills as before I put them in my mouth, throw them in my mouth, and go. And I may leave this one out today because maybe my body doesn't need the extra that it needs because it's built up or what have you. And I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's what I do. So she's saying that she doesn't consciously muscle test when she's harvesting, it just happens, then your body is way in tune. So I would continue to just allow it to do so and move on. Absolutely. So
yeah, I wish we were all so in tune.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have to tell you, just to tell you a little secret or a little story here. One time when I first started muscle testing, oh my gosh, I was like so excited about it, and I'm going around touching everything. I mean, I'm just touching it all and seeing what happens, you know, because I'm doing this sway testing. And I get to one day I'm going and picking up some photos that I had thrown over to Walgreens, and I'm talking to this guy, and he's deaf, and so I do sign language, so we're talking back and forth, and I reached down and my husband said, when you're out and about, will you grab me a Butterfinger? I want to put it on my ice cream. I'm like, yeah, Royal, whatever, because I don't eat that stuff. And he goes, so I did, and so I reached down by the counter and I picked up this candy bar and I went to put it up on the counter, and I literally almost fell backwards. I got so off balance, and Kent comes around from back behind the counter and he's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And I just started busting laughing because I knew exactly what was going on. So those of you, when you know you're really in tune, is when you're not thinking about it, and that's the best way, because you don't want your conscious to rule it. And that's where the hardest part about muscle testing is that you overthink things. So yeah, that's really, that's cool that that happens with you. So yeah, keep on. That's exciting to even know. But okay, where was I? By looking at the body as a whole, holistic techniques promote healing. I mean, if you look at one area, like in traditional medicine, they look, you know, you have doctors with blinders on, and that's because I call them blinders, but they're specialized. This doctor is a lung specialist, this doctor over here is a heart specialist, this guy's a foot specialist, and they don't know anything else but what they have been trained. So, and what's happened is like my papa over in Georgia, he has 21 doctors. When I was talking to him last, and I said, what on earth for? Well, he's got a doctor for every little thing. He's got a dermatologist, he's got this, he's dealing with gout, he's got that, he's got this, he's got that. And I'm like, you just need to listen to what I tell you. I've looked at their eyes. You know, I know I've given them the whole protocol, but again, they're in their 70s and they're just not going to listen to some punk kid. And so, and their family, which makes it really hard. So it just drives me crazy. But these doctors, they don't understand the whole body. Well, they do. They're taught it, but because they specialize, they don't see the body as a whole. We're holistic practitioners, iridologists, and those of us today in this class, we look at the whole body as an instrument that has to, a symphony that has to work together. It's like clockwork, like all the little clock mechanisms. And we look at that and we see how it has to work. Well, that's where chiropractic also comes into play as far as working with kinesiology. All the parts have to work together. So, okay. So things like depression, muscular aches, pains, allergies, skin disorders, arthritis, back pain, digestive problems, rheumatism, congestion. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, are all things that you can work with kinesiology, finding that muscle. Okay, so as a kinesiologist, most of them that go to school for kinesiology turn out to be either physical therapists or those that deal with sports medicine. As a physical therapist, if you've ever been, let's say you went in for your arm, and they start working, they move your arm up, they move it forward, backwards, up, around, and they go in circles. What they're doing is testing that muscle to see what muscle within that realm is weak. So they're basically doing the same thing we do, only they're doing it for a more physical reason. Once they find that weak muscle, that's where they start to strengthen. And that's what physical therapy is all about. So for the same reason, chiropractic can work to help in these areas. I know it works for depression. I know it works for even weight loss, girls. If your body is out of whack as far as you have a subluxation within the body, in the spine, that can cause an imbalance in energy. And that imbalance in energy is going to throw that thyroid, the parathyroid, the hypothalamus, all of that completely off, the pituitary, everything. So it's pretty amazing how it all works together. And that's why when I'm working with a client and they've got some particular issues, I will suggest that they also work with a chiropractor. So what I do is I cause this little synergy right here. I cause this chemical, this little triangle with the chiropractor and energy and myself. And I work with different people within a network. I have created a network of people, and we refer back and forth. So that's something that you want to think about doing, and so that you know that when you send this person to this chiropractor, unless of course they have their own chiropractor, but then I will also tell them, well, I want you to ask your chiropractor to work with this, this, and this, a T3 through T6 or something. And so you don't have to get as detailed as that, but I do. Okay, so going to the next little do-had here. Got to move these little boxes again. This study done by Dr. Winslow, he's a chiropractor actually in Waukegan, Illinois. He did a study on 221 different people. And out of that 221, he found that 212 of them were observed to have to belong to a sympathetic nerve segment as a vertebrae and a curvature. So in other words, when he did these studies, he found that because of a curve in their spine, they had diseases that came along with it. When he would talk with them, he found these diseases kind of corresponded along with these curvatures. And so this study turned out to be a real help. So bottom line is that a subluxation causes a disturbance into the nervous system. The nervous system causes a disturbance in the rest of the body. And if you look over here, okay, do I have my cursor?
Yep, we can see.
Okay.
Oh, you just changed a page.
I did? Okay.
Yeah.
Go back there. Okay, so with this right here, if you look, here's different places in the spine right here as you go down, and they correspond to different organs. And these are the body functions and the autonomic nervous system. So when you've got a curvature, a spine that's out, let's say that you've got this right here. I guess I don't have my little thing again. How come it keeps changing?
Well, you know what? Here, let me do this. Let me do something for you. Let go.
Okay.
I'll give you the spotlight. How's that?
Oh, there we go. Cool. All right. So let's say that you have a small area right here that is opened up and you have a pinched nerve right there. Well, it can, if you've got it in that area, it causes problems over here in the heart as well as in the stomach area. So that's why chiropractic is so important with kinesiology. So, and keeping balance in your body. So does that make sense? Am I making sense?
You are to me.
Okay.
Anybody else? It really helps if you, yeah, there's a lot of yes.
Okay. Because if you're not, type in N or Y, because then I will try to make it, because it makes sense to me, but that's me. Okay. Okay. So this is an amazing part right here. So what happens when you get a dysfunction and disease ends up it ends up in poor health? So then we've got to start, and figure out what the problem is. Sometimes it's chiropractic that you need to work with, and then once that's taken care of, then you can work with the herbs. And you can still work with the herbs. I shouldn't say that. You can still work with the herbs, but you're going to get optimal results if things are in balance. I guess that's what I want to say. So that's the reason. Okay, so next. Okay, it didn't go.
Wait a minute, that's because I thought there was a question. Somebody just typed yes in the question box. You should be able to do it now.
Mm-hmm. No, but will you click it for me?
Yeah, hang on. Wait a minute, let me see.
She won't give me control.
It's not letting me control either. Let me take it off the spotlight. Maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not working. It might be a...
Okay, well, she's working on that. Janelle has a question over here. She says, how do you know when they need to work with a chiropractor, and how is it determined? Well, you don't really know. You can muscle test and find out, and you can go right down the spine and see if there's areas, or just muscle test the nerve or the organ itself by just using their hand or sway test and have them just say, how about you just go down the organs, stomach, things like that. So you can't really determine. However, I will tell you that probably most people, like 99% of the people, are going to need some chiropractic because it's out of line. You could fall down and it'll throw things out of line. You could twist your neck, get up wrong, and it throws things out of line. Doesn't mean you have to go to a chiropractor every other day. It just means get, a couple times a month.
And can I say something else?
Absolutely.
My daughter, until she was 8 years old, I think, when she had a stomach ulcer. Here, when we took her to a chiropractor, he adjusted her, and she didn't have any stomach problems after that. The vagus nerve was being pinched. He said a lot of times that even happens when a child is being born.
Absolutely.
And because she never fell or anything, so I never suspected it was a spine. She never even complained, but nevertheless, it was out.
That's true. My daughter had my grandson and my granddaughter is when they were born. Took them to the chiropractor, and all they do, and you can do it at home even, you just put the child in the hand, and their head's in your hand, and their body is towards your body, and you just sit there and you kind of bounce them, and you hold them on your arm, but you kind of bounce a little, and then you bounce real big, and you just kind of let that snap back into place. It's pretty cool. So also you can do massage on them too when they're born. So yeah. Okay, so any questions? Because I'm going to move on to something different.
Wait a minute. Okay, someone said that the red dot works better. They can follow it better. But that's what was keeping me from changing the slides.
Oh, okay.
So how about maybe draw,
That,
like
okay.
this or something like that?
Okay.
Is that okay? Wait a minute.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Should we do it back to the red dot?
However you want. Yes.
Okay, that's why I draw too, because people do have a hard time seeing it sometimes, or noticing it, I think.
And Sherry, you are right, because the pupil does tell. I wasn't thinking of iridology, but there are flat spots actually on the pupil. And if they're at the very, like the top right of the pupil, it's usually because it's a neck issue. If it's at the bottom, it's on either side of the pupil, there are going to be flat spots on there. It's going to be lumbar. And if they're kind of up a little bit closer to the middle but still on the sides and you have flat spots, it's usually going to be in the thoracic area. So you can tell. And thanks, Sherry, for bringing that up, because I totally forgot, because I used that. So you would have thought I would have picked it up, but I'm not. That's not my mindset today. Okay, so going back to chiropractic, and again, this is amazing to me, because if you take a look at stomach diseases, in his case, in that Dr. Worslow's case, he found that all 9 cases of spinal misalignment in the mid-thoracic area, which is the T5 through 9. Do I have the pointer? Do you?
Okay,
5
go
to
ahead.
9. Oh, is it? Okay. So the 5 through 9, right here, that's where they had misalignment. So it was going to be in this area right here, again. So that study showed that. Okay, out of that same study of that 212, he found that 26 cases of lung disease had a spinal misalignment in the upper part of the thoracic spine, which is right here in this area. Okay.
Joe.
Okay, do it again. Okay, thank you. So it's in this area right there. And so these are the different areas that chiropractic can show. His study goes on to show that all 13 cases of liver disease has misalignments in the mid-thoracic area, which is the T5 and 9 again. Okay, gallstones, same thing, T6 to 9. So when they're dealing with these things, whoops, it's right here. That's what they're able to see. And when they start correcting this and putting our spine back into alignment, then our herbs and stuff are going to be able to take effect even more so, because our body's in balance.
What are you going in there for?
To me, that's exciting. It's totally amazing what takes place with alignment and stuff. Pancreas, out of that study, found 3 cases that had T6 and 9 out. And you can see that here with here, and then here again, and then here again. It's mostly in the thoracic area, so it's going to be from like right in here. I mean, this is the area that most people are out of line and don't even know it. So it really does pay to go on to your chiropractor and give it a check. In that same study, again, look at T5 through 9. And then, but the kidney area is T9 through 12, okay, which is right here. So it's going to be in this area, which is a lot of problems in people, especially women after giving birth. Prostate, bladder, the L2s and 3s. So that's going to be the lumbar area, which is about right in here. And that is a commonplace for for a lot of men if they're on their feet a lot. I know a lot of men that have problems with that I deal with, and yes, they do have some prostate weakness. Not that it's a real sad issue, but it is a weakness.
Truck drivers too.
Truck drivers, yeah, I can see that. And especially bladder, I would say even bladder disease with them. Of course, they can just get out and whiz off the side of the road, but you know. A lot of women, when they're pregnant, especially because of the pressure and stuff on the bladder and the kidney and different things. Uterus, you can see where the L4 and 5. So if you've got uterus issues and different things, uterine problems, it could be that you just need to, I mean, it's not just need, but you need to also get some chiropractic in that area, which will help, again, and enhance healing. That's the word I'm looking for, enhance the healing. So, you know, these studies here are pretty cool. You can find his results published in the Medical Times in November of 1921. So, you know, if you want to look it up and do more studies, there you go. But he did some amazing studies, and I love the idea of him being able to take these organs and putting them and placing them, because, you know, bottom line is, we are made in such a beautiful way. Our Creator did awesome things to us. And people don't realize that every part of our body, every cell in our body, every bone in our body has a substance and a purpose. And that goes along with our spine. If our spine shows weakness or deterioration, and we have a corresponding problem with, you know, an organ or something, let's look in other areas than just dealing with that organ. And so, again, I don't want to get away from what kinesiology is all about and how it helps, but if you have all of this in line and the way it's supposed to be, the energy flow, which we're going to get into later, is going to be able to flow evenly without disruption, which is only going to enhance the minerals and supplements and the body's absorption of those supplements that we're giving and or taking ourselves. So you'll hear me say it over and over again because it's just so important. Okay, notice this is quite a little bit blurry, but here's another thing that shows the areas. The brain is, you know, up in here in this area. If you've been in an accident or something, or a nerve or something has been squished or, you know, out of alignment or has pressure there, it's going to affect how you think. It's going to affect how you imbalances hormones, everything. So you can, this is just for illustration. It's just that here it is, you know, T5 is for the stomach itself. I get excited over charts like this. I don't know about y'all, but I have a whole book that has nothing but stuff like this in it that I can just go to when I'm studying or need to. I do not have this stuff memorized at all.
Well, actually, Sherry has a good idea. She said everyone should take pictures of them. I think Sherry said that. Because up on the top right-hand side, because there's some new people here that's never been here before.
Absolutely.
So on the top right-hand side, there'll be a little thing that says, that has a picture of a camera. If you click on that, it'll take a picture. And where does it put it, on your desktop?
It puts it right on your desktop.
So whenever the class is over, you can save the pictures.
Mm-hmm. And I can send them to you in an email if you don't get them. So, but all of those pictures that I've gotten today, like I said, are out of Google. Either none of them are mine, so you know they're not mine.
Hi, Pam.
Oh. But it's amazing. I mean, if you look at how, you know, if you're having liver issues and you know, we're giving you supplements. I mean, my favorite is Liver Cleanse. I mean, I use that like it's, you know, a household item because it's the best thing there ever was for Nature's Sunshine is the Liver Cleanse formula. But if you've been working with it, you know, to even enhance that, go get a, you know, chiropractic adjustment and see if that doesn't help a little bit. So that's basically what this is for. So let's move on. I can't move my slides again.
Okay, let me try. There you go.
Okay. So, okay, that was chiropractic along with applied kinesiology. Any questions before we move on to clinical, because this is a whole different ballgame? Okay. So if there are, we'll answer them. Clinical kinesiology actually came from applied kinesiology. In 1968, Alan Beardall, a chiropractor, became one of Goodhart's students. He took Goodhart's information and went a step further with clinical kinesiology. It developed over 250 specific muscle testing to diagnose, evaluate structural, chemical, mental aspects. Okay. During a muscle test on a patient in 1983, he discovered that the particular hand positions could change the body's response to the muscle test. This is amazing. But here's the thing, is different hand positions and different ways of doing things, they actually have a code. It's a hand code. And that's intense. I'm thinking that you'd have to go through some extraordinary schooling to learn all these codes because there's twisting, there's tapping, there's straight lines that you can do in order to make adjustments to different places in the body and different organs, such as if right in here in this area you could test it here for the solar plex here, and which indicates that there's digestive problems. So this part of kinesiology, the clinical part, is something that we would never probably get into unless you actually decided to go into kinesiology full time and study this, and it would be probably a good 4 years or more just to study the hand codes and different things. But a lot of people, I don't know of anyone in this part of the country that actually uses clinical. I know that they use other things, but not clinical. I've not found anyone. They do. But at the same time, you can use chakra balancing or Reiki. I'm a Reiki master, so I do use Reiki if need be to do certain things and to move energy. And that's basically, these hand codes are to move energy and to change vibration. And in order to, I'm not going to be able to help you understand it as well as I have a video for you to watch if you want to. If we want to switch over and we can watch this video. Let me get that one up. I think it's this one. So Mary will have to give me back the screen. Okay.
We can't hear it. I don't know if you can. At least I can't hear it. Can you all hear it? No, we can't hear it, Victoria.
Okay, so let's see. I'm not sure. I've got it up as loud as it can go. Let me see if I can pick it up a little louder. Tell me if you can hear.
I still can't. Nope, people are saying they still can't hear it.
Okay. Well, as she's talking, I'm going to mute her so I don't have to listen to her. And I'll explain what she's doing. What she's doing is she's checking the different systems right now. She's checking right now she's working with solar plexus, which she's talking about digestion. So in a few minutes, she's going to do some things to, she's finding the weaknesses. So in a few minutes, she's going to actually use the code, and you're going to see that. And this is basically what I want you to see in here. She's going to use circles, scratches, tapping, different things in order to balance this lady's energy in the solar plexus, which is going to help with her digestion. So you can see that she's twisting, tapping, and then she tests the arm again, and then she kind of does some lines and taps some more, and I watch her muscle test that arm again. And so that's basically clinical type of testing. So we can go back to your screen.
Okay, I have a question though before we go back to my screen. She's using her whole hand.
Yeah,
do you still use, whenever you do you still use just the 3 fingers?
I only still use the 3 fingers. Now, I'm not sure why she's using her hand, and I think it could be because it's a different type. It's clinical, and so she wants to be able to feel certain things, but I know she's not using much pressure.
Okay.
She's probably just holding the arm so that it doesn't fall back or tire the arm, because if it tires the muscle, you get a bad reading, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, that's a good point to bring up. So that's basically clinical kinesiology. So there's so many different things that you can use there, but we will never use this unless you go to school for it. But I wanted to bring it up because it is part of what kinesiology is. There are different parts to kinesiology. Here's one that you might use a little bit of, is behavioral. The behavioral kinesiology is just a refinement of the applied, which is what we will use through sway testing and finger testing and different things. John Diamond has a book out called Your Body Doesn't Lie. And if you don't have this, it's an excellent book. I love the book. He's got some good parts to it. You can even go on Amazon, take a look at it. It'll let you go through a little bit of it. But that's John Diamond, Dr. John Diamond down here at the bottom. But in the 70s, he worked as a psychiatrist, and he dealt with preventative medicine. But anyway, he goes on. He found that the indicator muscle would also, and the presence of positive and negative emotional thinking or thought patterns also affected how our body heals. And so I do use a little bit of this. Now, is there a particular way that you do? No, you just kind of talk and you find out some things, but you can do some clearing and stuff with some muscle testing. Not going to get into that today because that is really, really involved. But what I do, instead of me, myself, try to work with the behavior or the emotional part of the person's thoughts and behaviors, I send them to someone who does chakra balancing. And we're going to talk about chakras here in a little while. Some of you might have had chakra balancing before. It's not voodoo. It's just taking energy and allowing the energy meridians to be opened up so that there's a correct flow in the body. So it's not voodoo, and I keep trying to tell that because I get a lot of really cruddy looks sometimes when I talk about chakra balancing. He began using this tool to diagnose and treat his psychiatric patients. We all know that our minds play a lot in how our physical health is. It's if you're constantly telling yourself, oh, I don't feel good. Well, dismiss that thought. Yes, you do. Oh, I get up, I feel great. Even though you feel crappy, you got to get up and you know what? Today's going to be a good day. This is going to be a great day. So you have to emotionally put yourself in place. When I want to do something, I have to get myself, I have to it's called psyching yourself out. That's basically what it is. So giving yourself that positive motivation, that's what I want to say. Positive motivation, and it's emotional. So he found that link with behavioral kinesiology. Let's go on here. Muscle testing. Any questions? Because there's really nothing more to talk about on this slide here other than your mind has a lot to play with how you think and can affect your physical. Any thoughts on that, Mary?
No, I think that's why I had such a hard time so far learning how to do this, is because I think too much.
Absolutely.
I put too much thought into it, like, oh, I know they need this, you know. Then I'm not really sure because am I feeling it or am I thinking it?
That's a good point. And here's one thing that you can do is and it's easier said than done. But what I had to learn to do is, and you don't ask questions, you make statements. You never ask your question, will this supplement be good for my body? Well, if you think it does, then yes, then you're going to get a positive read. But if you would say, if you would make a statement as, let's say you're working with adrenal, and it's like, well, you would say adrenal support, and you'd hold the adrenal support at your sternum. I don't, but I just touch it or I think it. And adrenal support is good for my body. And you would, instead of, you would say adrenal support for my body, and you put it into a statement, and your body and your mind can't control it from there because you're not asking a question. So that's a good point that you brought up. You don't ask questions, you make a statement. In other words, you make a statement to find out whether it's truth or false. So that could be where some of the blockage comes in, is that you're making a statement or you're asking a question, but your belief system inside of your subconscious is saying, no, I don't think that this is for me. I mean, I think, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I already have my mind made up what I'm going to do. So then I would go, if I do this, will I do that? Well, your body's going to agree with your mind. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you want to work with statements and not questions. Okay. Any questions? I see something going over here. Are they just talking?
Yeah. Someone said, word for them. Wait a minute. I hate to keep going over here because when I do, then you don't get the mouse. Okay, someone said that they're a 4-level Reiki master.
Oh, good.
For their training. That's pretty much it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
awesome. Okay. So let me ask this question. So far, am I making myself clear?
Yes. yes.
Okay. Anyone not understanding? Because I really need you to understand this before we go to chakras. Okay. Oops. Wonder why I can't have that mouse. Go ahead and switch the...
Because I did that. Okay.
Oh, you did it. Okay.
Try clicking it again.
Yep, okay. So, bottom line, what's muscle testing? How does it work? And how do we do it? Muscle testing will not provide accurate responses to certain statements about the future. In other words, you cannot tell the future. Am I going to win the lottery?
I've had people tell me they can do that.
Yeah, well,
So, I know that sounds silly to some of us, but some people I've seen that they try doing that.
absolutely. Yep. You know, you can say, is Sally pregnant? Not going to happen. So, you know, there are certain things that you can't use it. It's not like a what do you call a little crystal balls. It's not a crystal ball. It goes by muscle and vibration and energy in the body. So you'll get a response, but if you say the answer is reliable, the response will be wrong. So just keep that in mind, that it's not used for a tool to find out the future. Muscle testing can be helpful for testing your responses to relationships and occupations among other subjects. It can be. So you can, you know, if you're, you know, I personally pray, but there are some people who constantly test their muscles to find out if, you know, is this a relationship a good thing for me? Now, you could go is this relationship affecting me in a positive way? And you could ask that to find out if mentally, because this could be a mental work on you, so you could test for something like that. Okay, but you have to be careful of your wording. You're not asking questions, it's a statement. Okay, and then sometimes the statement might not be exactly what you're asking, so you may have to find different statements to ask for the same thing until you get some sort of response, because sometimes you'll get no response whatsoever.
Can you give an example of that?
Yeah, let's see. If you're asking, let's say, let me think of one, for instance, I've had. You're working with someone and you're asking a question, let's say, working with stress. I'm trying to think, hang on. Well, you're asking a question like, making a statement that this product will work with my adrenals. Well, unless you're touching or looking or know what a product is, it's not going to give you a response. Sometimes that person's body's not going to respond to it because it could be either or. So you would ask another question with that same thing and put it up to your sternum and say, will this product be beneficial to my body or to that person's body or what have you? You know, and it's kind of a statement, but it's a question at the same time, and they may get a swaying back and forth, or you may get if you're using the arm, you may get, you know, a movement either way. I can't give you right off the top of my head. It's happened to me several times where I don't get a response whatsoever, so I'm like, okay, well, let's try a different product, or it was a question the way I asked it. So you just kind of have to give it a different statement, go to a different route. Can't think of something right off the top of my head.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. No, I mean, it's happened to me, and I'm thinking, I see the person standing there, but I can't even remember what took place. But it does happen. Just know that it does happen, and if I think of it before the class is up, I'll bring it up. It's enough just to stay on track.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. No, you're fine. That's a good. That's a good question, because it's like, well, how do you know? Raven's asking, could it be reverse polarity? Well, we're going to get into polarity here real soon, so it's a possibility, yes. But usually with that kind of a response when I'm getting it, no, we've already taken care of the polarity, so not usually. But yes, it can. But for Mary's question, no. The idea is to train the mind in different responses for truth and falsehood. You're going to get it. And again, using the arm and the fingers took me a good year to really know that I was getting a right response. So I used the sway test for the first probably 3 years or more. So, and it seems to be the easiest and the best, and people will trust it better than their fingers or their arms. So, how you do it, put the container in your pocket, hold it under your arm. I disagree with that. I got this information from someone's book, and I can't remember where I got it, out of something that I had for school. I disagree with that. I mean, I know you can put it in there, but I think that you should put it up by the sternum, because that's where the heart is. And so you want to actually take that product, put it up to the sternum, and then test with it. And you're going to get a more positive, I think, that's just my opinion, a positive, a better test. Now, if I don't have that product and I want to try something, all I have to do is think it, or if it's written in a book, I will take the book, and I have things for Nature Sunshine, and I'll go, let's say I'm using Chinese stress relief, and I just put my finger there and I start testing the person. And I start going through. I'll test the adrenals and different things. So you can do that too if you've done it for a long time. It does not need to touch the skin at all. It just needs to just go up against the sternum. So, okay, hold something good for you to test and test that. That's how I started out. What I do is when I start teaching the sway test, and we'll get into that a little bit more, but I'll give someone a piece of candy. I already know it's going to be bad for them, but they don't know what's going to take place when I'm teaching them. And we've done our polarity thing, which we'll get into in a little bit, and I'll have them just hold that candy or whatever, and they'll go backwards almost like somebody pushed them. And they're just like, their eyes get real big, and like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? Well, as a negative, obviously your body doesn't want that, you know. Then I'll take some good pure water and hand it to them in a glass or something, and hand them that, and they'll get a positive reaction. So that's how they actually get to test it. So that's a good thing for you to try.
Another thing, let me say something that happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
One time I was being tested during a kinesiology class, and I was testing, when they did that sugar thing, I went forward like crazy. And I tested really strong for the sugar. It's because I was low blood sugar. And the body at the time, it was low enough that it didn't care. So if you get a response, a positive response to something like it's bad for you, like sugar, it might be that that person is so desperate need of something that the body would just take anything.
Absolutely. And that's a good point, because see, when I've worked with a person, I've already asked them all these questions.
Okay.
So, you know, that's a good point to bring up. So if let's say you're a practitioner, and there's several practitioners in here today, you're a practitioner and you're working with a client, that's already going to be predetermined already before you start muscle testing. You're going to ask them, you're going to know if they're diabetic, if they've got this, if they're hypoglycemic, et cetera, and you take all of that into effect when you're working with them. So yes, that is very true. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's something I just didn't bring up at all. Good clarification. So, okay.
Hey, Victoria.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
If I have an answer, I'll try.
Hey, no, this is more like my Reiki master, the one that taught me, she used to be able to muscle test with her thumb and her index finger, and you could talk to her on the telephone, and she could give you some answers.
Yes,
have you
proxy.
heard of that?
Yeah, it's a proxy, yes, and we're going to get into that, yeah. So, yes, you can proxy. I do it all the time because I have clients that are clear across the country, and so I'll muscle test for them, as long as you ask for permission. You do need to ask for permission from that person that it's okay. When I am finished with a consultation and I want to do further study with them, I will ask them before they leave, do you give me permission to proxy test you? And they always do. So, yes, that's a good point. Okay. Next slide.
Is it not working again?
Mm-mm.
Sorry. Okay. How's that?
It's a good thing we went over this yesterday, so I knew wouldn't panic.
I forgot
Okay.
though. If I go check to see what, like, there's a question. Hang on, let me get this question first.
Okay.
Oh no, it was just a yes.
Okay.
So Reiki and things spells work well for me. I use some stones, but I'm in the beginning of learning them. Yeah, whenever I go over to that question thing, you lose control. So.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Okay, that's fine. No problem. I think everybody's fine here. Like I said, we've said before, it's a relaxed environment. And I know I'm talking a lot and not doing, I know I don't write like Mary does and different things, but there's just so much information to give. It's really hard. Kinesiology, when she first asked me to do this, I'm thinking, oh my heck, how am I going to do this? I teach kinesiology. I'm a hands-on person, and I touch you, and I, you know, all of this. And to put it on screen, how am I going to touch them? How am I going to see their eyes? So, yeah, so just bear with me, and we'll get there. Okay, here's where we go to balancing polarity. Operating in the backwards mode is a big deal. Some people go, oh, my yes has always been backwards, and I'll look at them and I go, no, but it shouldn't be. Oh, yeah, it's always been that way. Well, let's balance it. Oh, but it's all, and it's like, well, let's balance it. It's pretty quick. And so we balance it and we get it going, and they're like totally amazed because for 5 years they've been doing it and their yes has always been backwards. Well, it's a backwards polarity. You don't get quite the reading that you should, the proper response to the energy that should be going an opposite way. It renders ineffective not only muscle testing, but any treatment given to the body, whether it be energy therapy or otherwise. So is it a big deal? Yep, because if you're muscle testing, you're getting the wrong supplement that's getting the wrong treatment for that body. So, and then they come back and go, this isn't working. Did you muscle test it? Yes. Well, let's check your polarity. You know, and those are things that you want to make sure that. So anytime that you're working with someone, this is the first thing that we do. We balance their polarity along with mine. I've already done mine, but I will do it with them, and we balance their polarity. You have to have the proper flow of energy through the meridians or the acupuncture meridians, through the energy pathways. In order for things to balance out correctly, it has to flow properly. And if you want, in order for the supplements to work properly, the energy flow has to be going in the right pattern. So it's really, really important. So let's say that let's say you're working with a client and you're like, and they're not going quite like they should, and so you ask them, you question them, are you taking the supplements? Well, let's see, how many are you taking? Well, in order to take the guesswork out, you can actually muscle test them to see if there's a problem there that they haven't picked up after your first initial visit. You can see if their polarity's off. And if their polarity's off, it's like, well, there's your response right there, because it's just not going to work. So always check the polarity of the person and have them balance it, and it's so simple to do. So once you've learned or you've worked with that person or that client and they're having problems and they say, can you muscle test me? I'll say, yes, but you need to balance your polarity. So you need to make sure that you have them balance your polarity, even if you're doing it long distance as a proxy. So because if their polarity's off, it's going to throw your test off, because you're actually proxying as them. So if their polarity's off, yours is going to be off. So just make sure that that's working. When the operations get messed up, antibiotics, vitamins, other therapies are so hindered, and it will keep the body from getting optimal health. Mary says she has one of these diodes down here, but I found this diode, and my chiropractors have these diodes, and I think she said she has one on her computer. And where else did you say?
I wear it under my, like where my bra on my left boob.
Okay.
Between my
Yeah.
skin and my bra. Do you mind me taking 1 second and telling why these are so important?
I wish you would.
Okay. A friend of mine and I were reading eyes, and she was like high energy. This chick was like, an Irish setter. You know how they're all fidgety and all over the place, high energy. And this guy came up and she started reading his eye, and it looked like somebody took her plug out and she just drained. You know how those Christmas ornaments, you let go of the air and they just kind of, that's what she looked like. And she said, I got to excuse myself. She went into the bathroom and she threw up. Well, here the guy that she was working with had stage 4 cancer, and it sucked that energy right out of her. And that was my first experience. After that, a couple times, maybe 2 or 3 times, There's one lady that lived next to the high frequency lines, you know, the electric lines that you see, the big Jaguna metal ones.
Mm-hmm.
And she lived right underneath them. It should have been illegal for them to even put them there. And she used to come once in a while, and she said, I feel so better after a consultation, even before I take an herb. But I had to take a nap. She's like what they call an energy vampire, you know?
Absolutely. You bet.
So these things, I absolutely know they work. And I wear them if I'm going to do a lot of consultations, so that doesn't happen to you. Because you can, I don't know if you're pulling their bad energy or they're pulling your good energy, but it absolutely, your energies mix, and they feel better, and you feel like crap.
Right. Yep. It's called Cook's diode, pocket diode. You can use them. Now, I have not used it myself. I have people that do. And like I said, my chiropractor holds them, you know, carries them. But what I've done in the past is they're in Reiki, there's something called a zipping up. Or people call it something else, but I call it zipping up. And what you do is you kind of start from your feet, and like you're pulling out energy, like bad energy, and you pull all this bad energy out, and you go up your body, through top of the head, and you throw it. You just throw it out. And then I just ask for the light of Jesus to come and fill that void that you just took out, and then I just kind of run my hands down my body, and then I kind of zip myself up so that bad energy cannot come into me or take over or attach, whatever you want to say. I know it's weird, sounds weird, but it works for me. So I don't.
Well, massage therapists do that sometimes whenever they're massaging somebody.
Yeah, and when you're,
they'll like, I mean, to the person themselves, they will pull the energy down,
oh,
and then they like throw it away.
Yep, absolutely, same thing, absolutely. And that's what we do in Reiki as well. We zip up, and we don't, that way we are not, because when you're working with Reiki and your energy work, you've got your hands there. It's like laying on of hands, and your energy is what you want to do is your energy is balancing their energies throughout the chakras in different areas and organs of their body. But without getting too much into that, you can also absorb through that. You can absorb their energy. So you want to, what we call zip up, and you basically denounce their energy so that it cannot absorb yours. Because if you are, like Mary said, if you're absorbing someone's energy, you are totally whipped. And you can't do anything. You can't even think.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened to me when I first
Melissa
started.
couldn't do anything else. She had to quit for the day.
Absolutely, because it totally drains you. You can't think, you can't move, you can't, I mean, it really is. It just zaps you. A story real fast is when I first started learning, and I was in school for Reiki, my daughter was my person that I had to bring in, and she was going through a really nasty relationship with her husband, and they were on verge of divorce and stuff, and I forgot to zip up. And in the middle of the Reiki session, I started feeling overwhelmed, and I'm not kidding, even my instructor said that you just look like, I mean, I turned white as a sheet, and I'm nothing, but I was absorbing her energy. So my instructor came over and literally removed me from the room. She goes, "You've got to stop now." And I was totally exhausted just in that little bit that I was absorbing. And she said, I mean, I got flushed, I got weak, I got dizzy. It was amazing. I had never experienced it, and I'm glad I did, because then I know what they're talking about. But she actually removed me from the room, says, "You cannot do this. You're done for the day." So I had to do it another time. But it will zap you totally. So it's for real. Yeah. Okay. So going back to this diode, if you want to get the diode, you can. And you know, if you're one that's extremely super sensitive to other people's energy around you, then this would be helpful to you. And it would keep you, like Mary says, she keeps it on her and she uses it when she's doing consultations, because people come in with some really crappy energy and you don't want it. So if you choose to do that, this is the place that you can get it. This is where I found it. So I put that for you. Okay, let's see if I can move again. Oh, I did it. Okay, oh, too many times. Okay, balancing polarity. Here's the fun part. So everybody wants you to put your hands together like you're going to pray, And I want you to rub. And no feet, your feet can't be crossed or anything. You want to be just sitting flat so the energy can flow. But you just rub your hands across and just kind of warm your hands up for a few minutes, 4 or 5 times. And then I want you to take your hands and open them up and place your hands in front of you, like you see in step 2. And you're just going to tap the sides of your hands together 4 or 5 times. And then you're going to turn them around and you're going to do the same thing. And have your palm or your back of your hands going to face you, and you're going to kind of hit them together again. That's it. That's all you need to do. Now, are there more extensive things to do? Oh, absolutely. There's books out there on 15 steps to balance your polarity, and they're making bucks, and that's okay. But you don't need to go and make them rich. All you need to do is these 3 steps. You just rub, tap, turn, and tap, and you're good. And you want to do this in front of your face, so just keep that in mind. So, any questions there? Okay, you got your exercise for the day. So now you should have your polarity in place. Let's go to the next one. Okay, I'm going to show you this just as illustration. If you're standing in front of someone, your hand is going to be right here on their shoulder, right there. And your 3, did I do it again? I don't know why it keeps doing that. Okay, so then your pads of your 3 fingers, your pointer, your next finger, and the next finger, you're just going to put those, and you're going to put them right here on the green arrow on the wrist. And you're going to just push slightly. You don't have to, these muscles right here cannot get stressed. So you have your hand here, and you're here, and you're looking at them straight on. So you just make sure you got a piece of gum in your mouth. No, I'm just joking. So what you're wanting to do is that you're gonna just test that muscle. You're gonna say, let's say this person's name is Brenda, and you're just gonna say, your name is Brenda. Push it down, and it should stay nice and tight. Now you're gonna do another test, and you say, this person's name is Cliff. Well, that person's Brenda, so we know it's not Cliff, and you get it, and that arm is going to come down. It literally is. It's going to drop about right here. Okay? You do not need a whole lot of pressure at all. At all. Okay, so somebody's saying under collarbone, sternum, underarms besides breast. There's a particular protocol. You can probably find it on YouTube, buy the book or her DVD. There are many, many other exercises. They're all wonderful. Okay, that's good. There's lots of stuff out there. You can do a lot of stuff. But this is how you're going to do some things. Now, if you're going to test for some things, if I'm standing in front of someone and I'm going to do some testing, I'm going to start right here. And I'm going to start testing for the endocrine system. I'm going to start with the pituitary, and I'm going to touch with my 2 fingers on the other hand, and I'm going to touch right here. So my 2 fingers are touching here, and I'm giving some pressure here to see what's going on there. Then I'll come over here to this side and then this side, and I'm going to push down. So I'll push on, I'll put a finger here, push, put a finger here, and push. Then I'll come on down to the throat where the thyroid is. Okay,
I can't see your pointer.
I wonder why.
I don't know. Let's see.
It keeps changing every time I use it.
Okay, let me try this.
Is that better?
Click now.
Okay. So can you see right here? Okay, so I'm going to test here, and I'm going to push here. Okay. Then I'm going to test here, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to push here. Then I take my fingers and I come here, and then I'm going to push here. Then I'm going to come to the throat where the thyroid's at, right there, and I'm going to test. And each time I test, let's say that everything tests real well, this part right here stays nice and steady, but when I get right here, this arm drops. I know that that part is weak. That's a thyroid. Okay, we already know we're going to work with the thyroid, okay? But then, so then if that part's weak, I'm going to go back up here to the pituitary, and I'm going to do it again and see what I get again, and it's still strong. So the pituitary is not involved with this thyroid, which most times it is, but not always, okay? Then you just keep on going down, and you just go on down to right above the belly button, kind of, sort of, and that might be a little bit high, and then you test. You go over here to one kidney, and you test. You go over here to the other kidney, sorry about that, and then you test. And you just keep on going down. You can go clear to the growing into the uterus if you need to, and you start testing. Does that make sense?
Can I say something that I
Please.
learned in class one time? You don't actually have to touch the person, right?
No, you don't.
Like if you want to test for testosterone cancer, you don't grab the boys and test.
Well, you might. But no, you don't really touch them, no. You point. You just point.
Okay. Someone said, I did a distant Reiki session for a woman who had female surgery. She hardly bled from the surgery, but I bled at an unexpected time in my cycle more than I ever bled before.
You took on her energy.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing. You want to make sure you're zipped up or you're carrying a diode or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anytime that you're doing muscle testing, and that's a good point, you do not have to touch the person, especially if you're in the growing area, you know, and you're standing face to face to some good-looking guy. Yeah, that could be a little interesting.
But you can forget that if it is a really good-looking guy, you're saying.
Yeah. Hey, whatever you do in your office is your business, but on a professional level, let's listen. Yeah. But no, you don't have to touch. And a matter of fact, if you're proxying, you're actually, you know, you're just going down in your head visually. You're visualizing it in your head, and you're doing. And a lot of times I'll do sway because I'll actually touch. I'll put my hand out in front. Like if this is me standing here, I'll just put my hand out in front and I'll go down these points, imaginary, and just point them and using the sway test to do these. If I'm doing long distance, because it's kind of hard to do an arm when you're trying to use your arm. However, I do use my fingers, which we will get into shortly. I use my fingers. That's probably the most that I do, is I use my fingers when I'm proxying. I use my fingers a lot. I will use their fingers also if they're sitting in front of me. All right, let's just go on to the next slide. Which is not letting me again. Yeah, that's okay.
That's because I read that question. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, so again, they're doing it on the opposite side, but I do it the other side. In other words, he's got the right arm, his hand is on this side. I don't do it. I do it opposite, and it doesn't. I don't know that it matters. I've never read that it mattered. So, does it matter if the person is looking at you, or should they look over your shoulder? No, they can look wherever they want. They can even turn their head. They can close their eyes. They can do whatever.
How about eye-to-eye contact?
You can do eye-to-eye, but I've never had a real problem with, most people won't look you in the eye. If you're standing in front of them, you can't get them to look in the eye. They'll look down, they'll look aside, they'll turn their head a little bit. It doesn't really matter. I've not found it too. The books may see different, but I've not had a problem with it. So it's not like something you have to look right in their eye.
Well, no. I had heard a long time ago that you should look in somebody's eye.
Oh, okay.
You should look away. Or have them look away.
You know what? I wasn't taught any of that, so like I said, you know, most people don't look you in the eye anyway. So yeah, I don't usually make eye contact with people because I'm usually thinking, and so I don't really have a problem with that. But yeah, if that's what you've read before, that's
what a specialist told me once. Yeah, but
yeah,
people pick up their own stuff and they add it to sometimes, and sometimes it's founded, and sometimes it's not founded. You know?
Right. I've never been taught it, or it's never been brought to my attention, so it's not something that I've ever heard. So, yeah, kind of go with what you want, I think. So basically, this is what you're doing. You're standing tall, one arm relaxed at the side, the other arm is held out parallel to the floor, elbows straight. The tester then places his hand just above the wrist of extended arm and asks the subject to resist the downward force that he exerts. Pretty much. Begin by making true or false statements. Do not ask questions. I can't tell you that enough, because that is where a lot of people get into trouble. Is there a rule of thumb regarding the use of your dominant hand as a pointer tester muscle force? No, not to my knowledge. There is not. So you can use either arm, either finger. Most people are right-handed, so they'll put their right arm out. I think that's usually what they would do, but if no, there's no protocol at all.
Well, you
that
know,
I
not only
of.
that, a lot of this is intuitive.
True.
So I think whatever feels right for
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
is one I probably would try.
I think so too. I agree 100%. So, yeah. Okay. So we're going to go into variations of tests. So here's one way of testing. And then here's a second way of testing, because there are a lot of chiropractors that will lay you down and she's using the foot. Doing the same thing with as with your arm, only using a foot. I have never used a foot. So it's not something that I've done. But this is a variation that you can do, and that's why I wanted to bring this up. I don't know. I've never had my foot done, even. I have my arm several times, but okay, Ida says that's what my chiropractor uses, and that's perfect, because chiropractors, like I said, Dr. Goodhart, who started all of this kinesiology stuff, he was a chiropractor. So a lot of your chiropractors, if they're, are taught muscle testing. So that's cool. I've never had it done, but yes, it's cool. Okay, so any questions so far? Any other questions? What you guys have brought in so far is great. I'm impressed. It keeps it going. In pranic healing, we have a person remove anything leather or metal. Does this apply here? Sometimes I will ask them if they've got bracelets and stuff on, it's dangly stuff, I will ask them to remove them, but I don't ask them to remove their rings. If we're doing some intense work, if I'm doing even some energy stuff with it, I will ask them to remove their earrings. But that's about it. Leather, never have. I never have. So, and I think that the type of muscle testing that we use as far as practitioners and iridologists here, it's going to be mostly for supplements and different things. I'm not sure that you would really have to worry about the leather, but I do have them remove their dangly jewelry. It just gets in the way, and I think it doesn't give a good reading if you're using their arm. So, yeah, I would. Vic, you don't have to ask. Oh. Okay, what? Okay, you don't have to ask the questions out loud, but can ask the questions to yourself on muscle testing. Is this correct? Absolutely. That's usually how I do it. I never speak out loud when I'm working with people. That is such a great question or comment. Sometimes when you're doing muscle testing, you are testing for several different things, and if you're testing for, let's say, a particular, you suspect thyroid or adrenals or something, and your client, you don't want to influence your client's thoughts, and so I will keep it to myself. I usually always do all muscle testing to myself. I don't ask questions out loud. So that's a great point, because you can influence that person, and then their muscles are influenced by their thoughts. So that's perfect. Okay, any other questions? And we're going to move on to self-testing, and this is where you guys are going to have fun. Okay. All right, self-testing. One of the ways is that you can put your index finger, and I'm not going to read that, I'm just going to tell you. So you can put your index finger and your thumb together, and then you stick your other fingers inside, and you state a question or state a fact, and then you try to open it, like my name is Victoria, and you spread those fingers that you put inside, like this one here, and my name is Victoria, and I can't spread it apart. So, but if my name is Mary, it's as easy as pie. I mean, I don't have to put any force at all. It's like my name is Mary. You say that, and it'll open up. So give it a try for a second, and then if you've got some thought or comment, let me know. Okay, so are you getting a good, I mean, you're all balanced, you have your polarity in way, so are you getting a good response? So the first thing you want to do is say, my name is Victoria. And I want you to say my name is Victoria, and then muscle test that and see, did it open up, yes or no?
Mine did.
So, yours did? Okay, let's go back to your polarity again.
No, when I said Victoria.
Oh, it opened. Okay, okay, awesome. So you did. Okay, That's perfect.
Somebody
Now,
has a question, if you don't mind me asking.
yeah.
Do electronic devices interfere?
Such as electronic as in the room, or like a pacemaker, or
Why don't you give those to us?
okay, in the room. If you've got a lot of electronics in the room, say you walk in and in your office you've got a computer that's on, you've got a radio that you're playing soft music to, yes. If you are walking in and they're off, then probably not, although they still emit things. But Mary has a diode, so that should be safe enough. So it might. It just depends on the person and how sensitive they are. So yeah, it can. And like she said, like what Mary gave that illustration before about her friend, I have a friend who lives over in Boise that they live right underneath one of those power line. Matter of fact, it's one of those stations that are out there, and they have like 15 things going on, and you can hear the humming constantly. And when they first moved in, they started getting sick, and so they have stuff all through the house. Matter of fact, she carries a magnet in her back pocket all the time, which I do too. I just carry a regular old magnet. It's not as hefty as the diodes, but a good magnet will do the same thing. Because if anyone understands emotion code, we use pretty heavy-duty magnets. I just keep one either in my shoe or in my back pocket if I have jeans on. But yeah, they can interfere. The other thing is if they have a pacemaker or they come in with oxygen tank or something on them, sometimes it can, and you just kind of have to know that and test with it. And because that's part of who they are, the muscle testing is going to still give you what they need, because this is part of what they are. If they have a pacemaker, their vibration is going to be that no matter what. So you muscle test and be okay with it. There's no way of ever getting a true balance, but it's going to be fine for them. Does that make sense? I hope. Okay.
It does. Now,
Okay.
somebody has a question. They said this might be technical, but the finger points to the thumb, not lays flat on the thumb, right?
Correct. And that is correct. You're point to point. Yep.
Okay.
That's not a technical question. That's a really good question.
And then someone says, can you hold a baby and muscle test yourself for the baby?
Absolutely. You don't even have to hold the baby. Just put one hand on the baby and then do a sway test with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Francis, I'm so sorry that this struck me funny. But she says, like, carry a magnet from the fridge.
Actually, you can. Actually,
I know,
yeah.
but it's just the way she said
Oh.
it, like, it just sounds so funny.
Yeah, you can actually carry the magnet. I just take a flat magnet, and they're not as strong as the diodes and stuff, but I have the Nikon magnets for your shoes, and I actually use those. They're in my shoes. So
Okay, someone wants to know about the magnetized hematite jewelry.
Oh, the hematite jewelry. Ooh. No, I've never come up against that, but I would gather that that's really going to interfere with you. So I don't know. Okay, let me ask this. Is this the jewelry, Susan, that is supposed to balance, and people wear them to keep balance as far as pain? It corrects pain and stuff. Is that the one? The hematite jewelry? If it's not, I think that's part of it.
Part
Yeah.
of it.
Okay, so I would say I would not test with it. I don't know that I would test with it. You want a reading without interference. And what those magnets do is, yes, they do. They actually they will change polarity. I don't know. Test with it and without it and see. I've never done it. That's a good question.
When without, I would have them take it off just for the testing personally.
That's
put it back on. It's not that
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying is I wouldn't test with it, but I would try both. I've never come up against that, but I would definitely just for my curiosity, I'd try it both ways to see. What about just wearing it for protection? Sure. I don't know why not. For purifying the blood. I don't know that much about it in purifying the blood, so I don't know. I used to wear Q-ray bracelet, very powerful and beneficial. Okay, I don't know anything about that either. So these are great. These are things that, yeah, if you find out some stuff and you guys find information, please let me know, because I would love to know some of these things. So I apologize for not knowing, but I don't know everything. Darn. Anyway, okay, so let's go on. So that's one way of doing it. Now, let's look at the next illustration. Let's look at this one right down here, right here. If you just take that finger again, putting it together, and you're just using a finger instead of taking your whole hand or your whole fingers and putting it through, this is basically, you're doing the same thing. So ask a question again. So not ask a question, make a statement again. So the first statement is like, my name is, and say a name that's not you, and see if you get it right or opposite. Just give it a try and see. Yes, I'm trying to use my pointer. Oh, there it goes. This one here. Okay, so try that one. Okay, the other thing is that you can do the same thing with your thumb. I don't use my thumb a lot. I usually will do it this way. I usually use the pointer finger if I'm going to use my fingers at all. But there is another way. Okay, what am I repeating? If I take and put my fingers in here, I will use just my pointer finger, and I do the same thing as though you did up here in the first one. Okay. This one here, same process, only you're using your thumb. It's really what you feel best with. And again, I did not use this process for a long, long time. I just didn't feel confident. Now, let me share with you, and I don't have a picture, and I should have put a picture in here, what I do. I take both hands and I make a ring. I make a ring here, and then I take the other fingers, and I use my middle finger on the other hand. I have my ring, I use my middle finger, and I put it inside the ring, and then I connect my middle finger and my thumb. So I've got two rings together, like you're making those paper rings for Christmas. You've got two rings together, and that's how I muscle test. So I use that technique. So then I'll say, my name is Victoria, my name is Mary. So you get the same process, just whatever's comfortable. Does that make sense? And do you understand?
I do. So let's say, could you repeat, please?
Yeah, I did. Did I repeat it, what you needed, Raven?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
There's a question over here. Let me get this one. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so both rings, okay, so both rings, so you're just going to make your rings. You're going to have them in like a paper, like, let me see if I can draw it. I'm not as good a drawer as she is. Here's your first fingers. They're close together. That's your ring. So then you're going to put your other finger through, and you're going to make another ring inside of this one. It's going to go inside. So you've got your rings like that. And then you're going to pull from there. You're going to make your statements and pull from there. And what you want to do is break this where your fingers are together. So here's the tip of the one side, and they're inside of each other, and you just pull. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So yes, you're going to, if you have a negative response, just the one finger that you're using is going to break. You don't have to, both of them won't break. It's just the one side. Like two links in a chain, correct. Thank you, Susan. None are working for me. So none as any of the illustrations are working for you? Janelle? Yes, okay. That's common. That's why I say it took me, 2-3 years before I started using this. I used the sway test for at least 3 years before I got comfortable enough to use it. So just keep practicing, okay? And that's really all I can say, because sometimes it just doesn't. It's pretty common. It's not.
Can I say something else too?
Uh-huh.
I found that whenever I did do it, the few times it actually worked for me, I and the person had to be hydrated.
Oh, that was another thing, and I even have it sitting over here reminding you do, when you do muscle testing, you do have to be hydrated. So happy that you brought that up. I even have it in my notes, and I overlooked it.
Okay, we have a question, something over here. When worn on the left side or center of the body, the harmonious diode energy frequencies are picked up by the body's electrical system, thereby stabilizing, balancing, and energizing the human energy field. By emitting the balancing frequency, the diode also helps to block the effects of harm and stray electromagnetic fields when we're exposed to it every day.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point of wearing those or having those diodes, is so that the electromagnetic fields we are not exposed. As a matter of fact, it kind of pushes them. It kind of like if you put two magnets together and you have them backwards, you know, that how you have that tension between them, and that's basically what that diode's doing, is pushing those electromagnetic forces away from you, which is protecting your electrical system in your body and the flow of energy so that it can continue on. Because when you have when you are up against electrical magnetic field and you're inundated with it, it throws the polarity off in your body and your energy fields are running havoc. So that's a great, thank you for that, Claudia. That's great. Okay, so let's go to the sway test. Okay, sway test. This is the simplest and easiest thing to do in the world. So everybody's going to stand from their chair, and you're going to, we're going to use your name again, use someone else's name, and you're going to find out which way your sway is. And if it's forward, it's going to be correct. If your yes is backwards, then your polarity is off, and that can happen throughout when you're testing. So you just go back to rubbing your hands together, hitting your hands and turning them and hitting them again, and then retesting, and you should get a positive yes going forward. So everybody stand up, put your hands down to your side. Hopefully you are dehydrated. That was such a great question. I kicked myself for not saying that earlier. But put your hands down to your side and then say something in your mind, a statement, and see what you get. And then backwards. Do a negative. And again, this is where children are so easy to teach this. It's amazing what they can pick up because, again, they don't have anything keeping them from believing. Give me some feedback. Okay, Raven can't get up. That's fine. For those that can test, is your response forward? Yeah, you can keep your eyes open. If I shut my eyes, I have such terrible balance, I can't do anything. So yeah,
people usually keep their eyes open or closed for this.
Yeah, I usually open. Yeah. Francie, no, you're not supposed to make yourself. You just stand there and you say, my name is Francie. And your body, it's almost like you've got somebody behind you just kind of pushing you. You'll feel it. It's like a little force. And then you'll also feel a little pressure when you're going backwards in a negative response, too. It may take some time. So.
Okay, Pamela says, sway doesn't work. Positive and negative both sway backwards.
Okay, so try rubbing your hands together.
Dehydrated, but you say you might be dehydrated.
Yep, and that will totally throw it off. So, yeah. So, anyway, practice this a lot. I practice this, 24/7. I would go to the store and I would pick up a bar of soap and I would do a sway test with it just to see if this soap was good for my body. I would do this, I would do that. No, I really did.
No, I just can imagine you swaying back and forth.
Oh, yeah, well, there was a big thing about that within my family because I would go in and they're like, Mom's at it again. You know, they just kind of look at you like you're kind of cuckoo. It's like, woohoo. Yeah, just don't worry about it. I've got my straitjacket out in the car. I'll put it back on when I'm finished.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's nothing you do. Like, you don't sit down and play Mozart, you know?
No.
It takes a little practice to understand and feel it because some people, I notice whenever they do this way, because that's the only one I use, because I suck at this.
Yep.
But whenever they do it themselves, then I know my mind's not in there. Some of them, you have to really watch close to see the sway. Some of them almost fall on their face.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a difference, too. You know, sometimes it's just you feel pulling forward, although you're not swaying. You just feel like you've gone forward just a little bit. Or some people have told me it just feels like their organs have moved.
Could be.
You know?
Everybody's different. It's all in your physical makeup and your chemistry makeup. It really no one is the same. This is why I like to teach it when, like, if y'all wanted to fly out here and stand in my living room, we could do this together, but, kind of thing. But that's why I like a hands-on, because I can work with them and do stuff. But yes, hydration is like the #1 key, and I totally forgot to say it.
Well, Raven says, I've never heard of this one. Thanks. I can't wait to get Willie off my lap.
Oh, her cat?
I'm not too sure who Willie is.
Yeah, cat. It's her cat.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. Here I was all excited for Raven. Okay. Does it take a few minutes, or should it be able to tell right away?
Really, it depends on you, but it should be right away. It's not going to be a few minutes. It'll be a few seconds. But I would just stand there a minute and wait. Again, if you have any apprehension whatsoever about it, it can affect it too. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And when you're testing the vegetables, are you holding them in your hand to the side, or you place them over the sternum?
I just touch them. And when you get stronger, you just think them.
Okay. Lindsay said it worked for her.
Good.
And it did also for Ada.
Good.
I move forward, but barely.
Okay, that's normal. Just continue to strengthen that ability. It's the more you do it. Oh, she says backwards worked well, so her forward is a little bit off. That's okay. It's fine. It could be your balance. It could be between your ears, and I don't mean between your ears as, crazy. I mean that the equilibrium between the ears, or the energy or the oxygen flow for movement towards forward. So, okay. All right, any questions? Awesome. Okay. See if I can get it to go again.
Okay, wait a minute. I have to answer questions. Okay, try now.
Okay. Okay, so what time is it? Do you want me to keep going?
It is 6 minutes to 12. Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, do you, I don't know what time.
We went the rest of this class. This is exciting, Victoria.
No, I know. I mean, do we need to take a break? Because I can go over this, and then this would be a great place to stop and go take a break.
Yeah.
Okay.
First, this is exciting. Can't wait to get started. But yeah, I have a couple people. I guess they have to wee-wee.
Okay. All right. So let me. Okay, break is good. Okay, gotta pee. Okay, let me just. Depression, tiredness and overwhelm, feeling stuck. This is what's really going to help, is when you're muscle testing, that feeling stuck part is really going to be a big thing. Digestive health problems, relationship issues, back, neck, shoulder, and other pain. It's really going to help determine where, what, and what part of chiropractic you're going to need. That's why I love muscle testing. Self-esteem and confidence building. That's the emotional part. That's the behavioral. Creating clarity and helping decision making. Setting and achieving goals. And best of all, for all of us, this is what I love the most about it, and this is what I use the most muscle testing for, is to find the proper supplements and herbs for healing. Even though we as practitioners have our favorites, sometimes they're not what that person needs. So muscle testing can truly, truly help finding it. Not that if I'm using liver cleanse, that and it's great for that person, it doesn't mean that that the liver cleanse is not going to work, but it can verify that it's the right thing for that person, so I know it's going to be optimal, and that's all the difference. So, okay, we can break.
Okay, how long?
Your normal 10 minutes, I suppose. That'd be great.
Okie dokie.
Okay, see you in a few.
Okay. You might want to stop recording. I can't.
I will.
My recording's screwed up.
Yep, I'm going to do that right now.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
If you're not back, say something.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not back, say something. Oh, that's a good one.
I didn't know if you'd catch it this late in the game.
Yeah, yeah, I got that. I must be on top of it today. Well, I started recording again, so I did want to, just kind of recap what Raven was giving us, just in case. She has a kit that has 117 different jars in it that have different products from Nature's Sunshine in it that she got a long time ago. Not sure if it's still available, but she did give a phone number, 219-267-2900, just in case you're interested in calling and seeing if you can get that kit. So, okay, ready to roll.
Vic,
Yeah.
one more thing. My husband just reminded me they've changed the area code up there, so it might be 574.
574. Okay, so 574-267-2900. Okay. Thank you. All right, let's roll again. Okay, let's see if I've got the controls here.
Here, I'll go to you in a second. There you go.
Okay, now we're going to get into some of this stuff, and it's intense. I want to say right up front that I do not go through all of this. It is very intense. I don't go with vitamin A, vitamin B. However, here's the thing with what Raven was just talking about with her kit. You could do the same thing. You just wouldn't have the touch points, wouldn't be the same. But if you did want to go this extensive, like finding out if vitamin Bs are something, this is how you would go about it. Way back when, these two guys, Grimm and Fishman, developed the following method. What it does is it helps, and what I've done, or what's been done to me as well, is that my practitioner or my naturopath will hand me, let's say he's working with my thyroid or my thymus, he'll hand me a container. And it's a small container, kind of like what you were talking about, Raven. And I just hold it in my hand. I don't put it up to my sternum or anything. I just hold it in my hand, and he touches certain points. He's done my eyelids and my tongue and different things before with these points. I would gather that these are probably points of meridians and different things. I don't use this, but I wanted you to have this information, because if you want to go and really get intense with muscle testing, it gives you how to do it. You just, you put the free hand, same thing, muscle test with it, but you as the practitioner would hand that person vitamin A, and you would touch the right eyelid with your either hand that you're not using to muscle test with. So you would hand them the vitamin A. You would touch very lightly the right eyelid. Of course, their eye is closed, and you would take their arm and you would push it down and see what resistance is. If it breaks down and it goes down, in other words, if it goes, okay, I need a pointer again. Here I go. It goes downward just slightly, then that's going to be a weakness. So you would put that aside. And I have done certain things like this, but not this intense. Let's go to vitamin C, just below the collarbone, about 2 inches from the mid-chest. So
okay, can I ask a question before you go on?
Yeah.
So you said it means there's a weakness. In the weakness that you need vitamin A, or is the vitamin A causing a weakness?
No, you need vitamin A. So your body is asking for it. Okay, good point. Very good point. So you would go ahead and go on down, and you would do the same thing just below the iodine for thyroid, and that's 98% of the United States people have a thyroid issue. So you would just go just below the Adam's apple. I just touch around where that little bone is, where your collarbone, that little V kind of. I just kind of touch right in there, and then I will muscle test to find out if that's what they need, is iodine. So you can do that with your different products with Nature's Sunshine. I don't touch the tip of the tongue. I just kind of, they have it out there, and I just kind of put my hand close to it. If I were going to do it, no, I wouldn't touch the tongue. Not my
You know
thing.
what I've had people do, when I've seen this done, is they would have the person touch their own tongue.
You can. I have them touching, if you're doing it, like when I've had it done to me, I don't do this, so I've not done it myself. But when I've had it done to me, I'm holding the product in my hand. So the practitioner just goes up to my mouth, my lips. I put my tongue out, he just goes up to my lip. He does not touch my tongue.
Can I tell you something, Vic?
You bet.
When I was living up in northern Indiana, there was an Amish man, and he did all the muscle testing like that. He had me sit right in front of him, and we went there to see him, and there was a line of people, and he lived way out in the country, and early in the morning there was a line of people to see this man. So we'd go to his barn, and he had an office back in the back of his barn, and he'd do that to everybody, and then he would send you out. He would just write down the Nature Sunshine herbs or supplements that you needed. You would take this little piece of paper out, like a prescription from him, out
Yep.
to his there was like another part of the barn that had his two daughters running like a counter, like a prescription counter, and they would get whatever it is on that paper that you wanted him, to buy. Yeah, and he was there all day long with a line of people, and that's all they did. Wasn't that cool?
Yeah, yeah. We have a gal that does that as well. She's not local, but she's up in the mountain, and she's an iridologist. She's where I actually got acquainted with iridology, and that's what she does. She does it two days out of the week, and so she has quite a following. So it is a good idea, but at the same time, as an iridologist, I'm a people person. I want to take more than 10 minutes with someone, so I take an hour and I work with them and kind of go from there. But yes, that is a great idea. Super. Okay, so this is for your information only. It's not something that I really want to go into a lot of. It's just that you can do it. The next page is even, I think, more intense. Working with adrenals, you lie down on your face, one leg up. I mean, it gets pretty intense. Okay, so I don't usually get that involved, I guess I should say. So anyway, any other questions? Because I'm going to go to a video right now. I'm going to, before I go too much further, I want to go to a video. I wanted to do that before I started this, but forgot. I'm going to show you two different videos. This one here is the finger, just to kind of reinforce what you just learned. She's testing for allergies, I believe. I don't know. I'm going to unplug my earphones to see if you can hear better, but if not, it's what I want you to see, not so much hear. Can you hear it? Okay, so if you can't hear it, I'm going to turn the sound down because I'll explain it. Oh, Janelle can? Okay. Well, what she's doing is testing for positive and negatives, but I want you to see how she's doing it with her finger movement. So she's asking, she's making statements now, and so she's testing. So basically, you see what she's got there is her fingers are together and her fingers going through. So she'll make a statement, and then she'll come through, and it either breaks or it stays. And that's pretty simple. That's really all I want you to see is just the procedure. So any questions? Because I'm going to go to the next video. Okay, now the next video is going to be pretty, I guess I should get rid of that one. Real simple and easy. It's the sway test. She's just basically talking about clearing your mind, standing straight. She's going to go ahead and, right now she's making a statement, and you can see her body actually sways. She's talking about it taking a little bit of time, not to worry about it. It takes time. So she said a name, and she's just waiting, and now it's going backwards. Okay, so let me plug back in. So basically, I just wanted you to see the sway test. When she was doing one of the testing there, she said someone else's name other than her own, and she just had to stand there for a minute because it took a few minutes, and then she went backwards. All she was doing is explaining that sometimes it takes time. It's not an immediate response, but it doesn't take a few minutes. It takes just a few seconds. So I just wanted to clarify that before we moved on. Yeah.
When I wasn't joking about the cookie thing, but the minute I put the cookie in my hand, I did that sway test and it went backwards. I couldn't force myself to make it go forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's really good. That's good. Okay, so let's go back to our screen, to Mary's screen. Okay, awesome. Okay, so again, here we are with the adrenals and stuff. And again, I don't use this a lot. I use it in a different way. I don't go into this much detail unless, of course, I'm working with someone that's really needing a lot of help. Then I might consider it, but it's not something. But I wanted you to have the information because it's out there, and maybe you want to go further with it. So I didn't want to control that factor, but I just wanted you to know that it's there. Okay, let's see if I can move the screen. Okay, again, I mean, it gives you all of it. And if you're not taking pictures, that's why I'm leaving it up on the screen, because some people take pictures. If you want me to send these to you, I can send you these slides one at a time. It's not a big deal, this information. Okay, my favorite part. Whew. All right, chakras. I love chakras. All right, got to get my thoughts together because I'm too excited right now. Okay, kinesiology and chakra relationship. Kinesiology is the effective method for balancing the energies of the chakras. Balancing your chakras with kinesiology or muscle testing can improve the physical, emotional health, and well-being. I love chakras because in your body, and I'm not a drawer like Mary, but you got your little body, and my body's not going to be very cute. Here's my little limb. Isn't that funny? Oh, now it went all over. Okay, so here's my body. Mary, please do not laugh at my people. Okay. All right, my body. So you've got these little chakra wheels.
Can't make that promise, by the way.
That's not right. Okay, you got your little chakra wheels right in here, and these are just wheels, and I say wheels because I want you to visualize this energy wheel that's just got this synergy just going through this great ball of energy. And so when you're balancing chakras, these little energies, they're located in the different parts of the body. You've got your crown chakra, your root chakra, and your solar plexus, and your heart chakra, your throat chakra. I mean, you go on and on and on. There's like hundreds of chakras, but the main chakras, you have about seven major chakras in the body. But I'm telling you, there's hundreds of them, and I don't even know all of them. But here's what I like about them is that chakras act like power stations in the body. So they bring exhilaration, they bring life, they bring vitality to the body. And each chakra is associated with different behaviors, different characteristics, different development, and within the body, so that we have total harmony, okay, in the body. They bring balance. If, say, the throat chakra, and I always go to the throat because of thyroid, if the throat chakra got some blockage there, let's say you've got thyroid problems physically, the emotion that's there is you won't speak out. That's a blockage. That tells a blockage. In other words, it's got a wall around it. Just kind of visualize a wall around that chakra so that people kind of hold things in. They don't speak out. They don't say what's on their mind. They just kind of hold everything within. So what happens is that this chakra gets unbalanced and it gets kind of like what I call clogged. And so when you've got your flow of energy that kind of is whipping through here, through the body, this area is clogged. So this energy, for some reason, has a hard time flowing through to the rest of these chakras and throughout the body to keep balance. So you've got this, as your meridians are going through, you've got your meridians that kind of flow through the body kind of like this. And then these chakras get messed up, and the flow gets all messed up. I want to get rid of that. So with the chakra, with the meridian energy that's going through the body like this, and it comes back up and around, and it just keeps flowing through the body, if there's a blockage in one area, then it stops. And that causes disease, ill health. It can be physical, mental, and emotional. Okay? So that's why I love chakras. I do. Because if you can take care of the chakras and get rid of that imbalance or that clogging, then the rest of the body is going to kind of flow. Okay, so while you've got that flowing that's going on, and you've got your chiropractic, your subluxations, you've got good energy going there, you've got a great canvas to be able to help that person get healthy at a faster rate, and you can go over and above with what, if you're just using herbs and you don't have, and you're not taking care of the other blockages, you can only go this far. But let's say you take care of the blockages, you can go this far in their health to get them even a better quality in their health. I hope that makes sense, because I get excited and so I get kind of crazy. But I love this. I love this part of it. Chakras absorb energy from our thoughts, our feelings, diet, exercise, environment. Our body's affected by the quality of the energy passing through the chakras. So you're on your supplemental protocol, and you're feeling great, and you've gone through your healing crisis, and you're feeling really good. And then all of a sudden you hit this plateau. Well, it could be that you need to probably balance out some chakras. So you get some chakra balancing, and you start working with that emotionally, and you might see that you move forward.
Is there any way of testing? I mean, how do you do if you want to say, is this emotional? I mean, is there a way of doing that?
I would muscle test it. I would just muscle test and find out if is my health being held back by emotions. Is there a chakra? And I would go down and I would just go through the chakras. The root is at the growing area. The crown is at the top. You have your third eye, which we'll kind of go through here in a minute. So I would just kind of muscle test, just like you're doing your endocrine system. I would muscle test the chakras to see which one actually has some major issues. I, again, in my networking, have a gal that does chakra balancing. And if I think that there's chakra that needs to, chakra or chakras that need to be balanced, I will ask them to go see her and then come back to me, and we work further. So you can muscle test. You just need to know placement. And so that's what you're going to get today. So yeah, that's perfect. That's a great question. If a chakra is, if you've got in your heart chakra, and I'm going to use that heart chakra, which is right about the sternum area on your body. I have a heart chakra. I get balanced a lot by, my chakras balanced a lot by my friend. And she can balance every one of my chakras and get that energy flowing until she gets to my heart chakra. And she says I've got such a wall around that chakra that I won't even, that she can't even penetrate. So it'll take some time. So sometimes if there's a blockage, and that could be because it's mental, emotional, whatever. Mine happens to be that I come from a background that my dad was very, very abusive. He was a drunk, and he beat the crud out of me. I mean, very abusive. And I had a hard time with trusting men because he was so abusive to me that, you know, and then I copped an attitude that no man's going to tell me what to do kind of thing throughout my teens. Of course, I've softened up since then, but I still hold that because I don't trust people. And so I'm very cautious. And so what I've done is I've built this wall around my heart chakra. Well, that heart chakra causes a lot of problems emotionally. And so you want to deal with those things. So, and because that heart chakra is something that I, you know, because of the past abuse, I have a severe thyroid problem. And so because I don't speak out, I keep my feelings to myself, which is not so much true anymore because I now speak out. So I am working with that, but I am working with balancing those chakras. So you can get disease. People that have these things, for so long can actually cause physical disease. It doesn't mean you're going to have a heart attack or anything, but it can cause a problem in the body and can cause a problem in that heart area, but it doesn't necessarily have to, because that chakra, it goes out to other places in the body as well. Does that make sense?
It does to me.
Okay.
There are some comments, though, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Someone says, plus a pendulum will work well with the chakras.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of people were saying, we're sorry to hear that you had such an
Oh.
upbringing.
Well, thank you, but you know what? I don't use it as a pity thing. I use it as it's made me who I am today. Without
and we
those
like
things,
who you are today, so.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think that, you know, from the past, because I mean I could tell you horror stories. I could write a book on my past, but what I've learned from it, since I'm a Christian, since I became a Christian and everything, what I've learned from it is that that's my characteristic. That has become who I am based on the fact that I'm more sensitive to young girls and can help them. I became a drug addict in my teens and a teenage alcoholic as a result of all of the stress and things that I held in. And I went through extensive rehabs and things for it, for the alcohol, not so much the drugs. I was just this pot-smoking fool and dropped a little bit of speed here and there. So, Raven, you can appreciate that. But anyway, going with that, I feel that that empowered me to be who I am today, because then I'm more sensitive to people. So, but however, even though I've let that go, I have forgiven my daddy. He's passed on. He died at a very young age, at 54, with throat cancer as a result of his drinking and his smoking. But from that, I still carry baggage, and I did not even realize it, because I have forgiven him. I have moved on. I'm a very happy person. I don't let things like that hold me back. Matter of fact, I've used them to my benefit to be able to help other people. But when it comes to the chakra, I still have a problem with trust, and so it's in the heart. So you don't realize it, but this can cause problems, and it has caused some problems with the thyroid. So it's just something that you have to work through. And I don't even know why I shared that, other than it's just chakras are amazing, and if there's an imbalance somewhere, it can cause some problems physically and mentally. And I guess that's where I wanted to make a point.
There's some questions here.
Okay. All right.
Balancing chakras is easy. Start at the bottom chakra and put your hands over and go clockwise. Work each chakra up to the top.
Yeah, that is true.
How could flower essences work with the chakra, with this chakra?
With the heart chakra? Well, because flower essences, because if you go into herbs, and Mary, you might be able to explain it even better, going into herbs, each herb on earth has vibration. Chakras are energy, which is vibration. And so if you choose a particular flower essence that will match that vibration to help bring the proper vibration back to the chakra that's clogged, that's how it helps.
Right. It reminds me of, did you ever go past a place where they're doing road construction, and they used to say turn off your cell phones, and they don't do that anymore? It's because they now have a device that whenever they put it on, the vibration of that will turn off the vibration that works on your phone. So that's what it does. It shuts down the vibration that's causing that emotion emanates, so the body can get rid of it. And open heart is very good for the heart.
Right.
I mean, she said this chakra, so I'm just wondering if, she wanted to know that particular chakra. But
open
heart is very good, too.
And I have that here and use it. So, and essential oils are amazing for chakra balancing as well. So, so they're used. Matter of fact, when I go in for a chakra balancing, she pulls out and she starts muscle testing the proper oils to use on me when she's doing a balancing. So yes, flower essences are awesome for this. Okay, any other questions?
just a lot of comments. These people just love you.
Oh,
Thank goodness you're on the right track, and you're a wonderful person. And look at the wonderful person you've become. Things just really positive things.
okay. Well, thank you all. I appreciate that. Okay, back to the chakras. So going here, just like what Mary just said, as far as vibration, we absorb energy from our environment. So if you're in a negative, and I'm talking emotional here now, if you're in a negative environment, and let's say you get up in the morning and it's just a great day and everything's going right, and then all of a sudden somebody comes in and, I mean, your whole world's knocked upside down, and it just turns your attitude into a real pissy. And you're ticked the rest of the day. Music has a big part of that energy. We absorb the vibration of music, and people think, oh no, music doesn't bother me. Well, that's baloney, because you put on some soft rock, some good old classical, you know, stuck in the middle with me kind of thing, and you're bouncing around, you know, and you're just bebopping, you know, and stuff. And then you're in a good mood. But you put on some of this heavy metal, you know, kind of growling stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, you know. And by the time I'm done, I find that my husband even, he'll go, what are you doing? My jaw is so tense that that I actually throws pain up into my ears and my head. So that vibration that comes off of that affects us, and that affects our chakras. So, as well as, and which affects the mental, which affects the physical, which, I mean, it's just a big mirage of things that it affects. Other people's negativity we talked about this earlier, how we suck up their energy. You have to be careful that you're, you know, I mean, you can't stay away from negative people, because these negative people need some real positive stuff in their life. But you need to zip up. If you're around that, you need to zip up, because in order to be an effective person in their life, you have to be balanced. And if you're taking on that energy and you're getting uptight and crazy, you're of no good effect to anyone. So it's challenging sometimes to be around those kind of people, but it's very workable. Okay, let's see if I can change slides. Oh, this is where I love it. I get so excited. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm sitting here rubbing my hands because I get so excited. Okay, organ, system, gland relationship to chakras. Okay, I don't know who was, oh, how'd that happen? Okay, I don't know who was talking earlier about starting at the bottom. The bottom is correct. That is actually the first chakra, which is your root chakra. And I like this thing because it's color coordinated. And you can see that the root chakra deals with all these organs and in the back. See why chiropractic is so important along with what we do? There you go. That's what it affects, that root chakra. So let's say that root chakra is out. You've got some intestinal problems, you've got some female or male problems. I would check and have that. I would say that your chakra is out of balance, as well as, you know, there's going to be deficiencies in minerals and different things, and maybe lifestyle has a lot to do with it. Here's your sacral, the second one, and the sacral is right at, how come that is happening to me? Hey, what happened? What happened? Huh. Seems like every time I use this little cursor, it does that. I lost it again. A little technical problem here. No? Okay, thank you. Mary's been so helpful. She's actually doing this on hers, and she's giving me the pointer, so that's the deal. There's your sacral. That is, you know, your sacral is down around the belly button, the navel area, I guess, or just under it, I guess, because your navel is a little higher. But did I do too much of that? I think I did. I want the sacral to be more right here, I think. And then the navel comes here and takes over. So again, you can see the correlation between the organs and the spine. So here you've got a whole buttload of stuff, and then again, the heart which I don't see it really well. I think it's right in here, to be honest with you. And then your third eye, which is right in between your, oh my, I did not do that.
I know, I did that one.
Oh, okay.
The throat,
Which is
the throat one. That's what I wanted to show you.
Oh, the throat. Okay, the throat. Okay, throat. Yep, the thyroid and different things. Yes, thank you. So that's all of that. These are those organs, your thyroid, everything in here, and your spine. And then, of course, your crown and your third eye. Your third eye is right between your, right at the base, at the top of your nose, right between your eyebrows, actually. And so you've got that. You can see the blue there. And then the crown, obviously, is up here in, which is your pituitary, your pineal glands and things like that. So let's say you have a thyroid problem. You would look at the throat area and you would determine, you know, if you're having problems there, you might have a imbalanced chakra as well. And I would also have some work done on my neck as far as chiropractic, which I do. I go in and they work with my atlas a lot because when I was a kid, I went through a windshield, and so my whole right side is kind of compressed, and so I do have some problems, and that can imbalance those chakras as well. So any questions with that right there? I don't know about you guys, but I get excited. I can hardly keep my body still. Okay. Again, same thing. The root chakra, we're going to go with the gland. And now I did this so that we could see it because most of us here are practitioners and urologists. So here's the deal. With the root chakra, which is down here, in the very bottom, down here, the root chakra deals with the adrenals, the gland. Oh, how come it keeps doing that? Adrenal skeletal structure, which, you know, again, is the neck area. Let me get rid of this. You guys will have to forgive me because I'm not the best with this little pointer. The sacral, those glands are the sex glands, as well as some of the adrenal. Okay, related function, elimination. How many of you have issues with elimination? It can be elimination with the bowel. It can be elimination of toxins. It can be elimination of a lot of different things. So that would be something that you'd want to work on. The plexus or the solar plexus is where the pancreas is involved with. So if you're dealing with somebody who has blood sugar issues, hypoglycemia, diabetics, they have problems with digestion and assimilation, as well as muscles and circulation also in there. I would work with the solar plexus in that area. You can see the different, all the way down, pituitary, pineal, the crown, which is the top of the head, is the pituitary mostly. So if you've got a pituitary problem, which this here I do, and I have a thyroid problem, so these two right here are places that we deal with, that I have to get balanced quite often. Now, of course, I've got the little thing around the heart, but that is a wall, so we can still balance these two, so that's where I work. I just think this is, it puts it into a whole lot easier to understand what the chakras, how the chakras correlate with the different glands. So, any questions? You get this? Are you understanding it? Do I need to go over it?
People are just saying loving it.
Okay. All right. So here's, I like this too. Chakras, like I said, are associated with different body parts there, as well as emotions, and it's physical, emotional, and spiritual even. When there's a spiritual problem, you have problems as well. The root chakra, survival, security, energy, trust, power to achieve. The body parts that it affects, if it's out of balance, right here. Your skeletal, which is your spine, up and down the spine, legs, bones, large intestines. That's what I really like right here, is the body part that the root chakra deals with is large intestines. Chakra, or the sacral, the second one. Feelings, your feelings, self-awareness, self-love. If you have a hard time with, it's like you're always beating yourself up emotionally and constantly, you know, putting yourself down, I would work with that, the sacral chakra. The body part that it deals with is kidney, bladder, sex organs, and reproductive. I like this chart because the other one was a visual. This one gives it to you just black and white. You can print this out, and you've got it in your notebook, and it's awesome. Solar plexus, the same thing. Works with digestive, small intestines, your skin, and your nervous system. And then again, heart, chest, lungs, arms, hands, and circulation. Circulation, yes. That circulation also goes along with your thyroid as well. Throat, creative expression, communication. But that body part, throat, neck, nose, mouth, teeth, everything that's involved in there. I don't know, Sherry. She's asking, can you wear the colors that correspond with the chakra to help? You know, I think actually you can, because even if you go into a room that has, there are banners that have the chakra colors on it, and that actually does help the vibration. So yes, I would say yes, absolutely. Because color, because I do color therapy. Yeah, it's called color therapy, where you go into a room and you wear the glasses and you see different colors along with hear different tones in music and stuff. So yes, and yes on the essential oils. So yeah, you can, definitely. So anyway, you get the idea here. The crown chakra, upper skull and skin, your third eye or between your eyebrows. The body parts is ears, eyes, base of skull, and nervous system. So here, I just get so excited when I see this stuff because this is how it all works. It kind of tells you, and if you have your chakras in balance, and you have your spine in alignment, and you have the proper supplements, man, you can go to town. So you can work with the chakra to fix the spine for people that don't go to a chiropractor. Balance the chakras. It's not going to change a subluxation in the body. You do have to work with the chiropractor. That's why I brought it in, because I think that they're kind of a triangle. I think they go together between your practitioner muscle testing you to find out where the areas are, and then that practitioner sends you to someone who can balance your chakras as well as put the body, the spine back into place for proper energy flow. So I think that you need to go to a chiropractor as well. Okay, what did she say? Somebody doesn't. Some people won't go to a chiropractor. Then you can only work with them as far as you can go. I think Mary said this in one of our other classes the other day, that I think Sherry was bringing up that, you know, there are people who just won't do certain things, or they, you know, you can only work with them. You can't make them take your supplements. You can't make them do these things. You can only give them the information, hand them the information. They have to do the work. So, yeah. So Sherry's saying, so work polarity, first chakra, second chakra, then move on. Is that correct? You want to, when you're balancing with chakras and stuff, I'm not a chakra balancing person. I do Reiki. It's a little bit different. But with Reiki, you can start anywhere on the body and in any chakra, any organ. But I do believe that when Beverly works on me, she's a chakra, she does chakra balancing. She starts at the root, which is at the bottom, yes. And you work up to the crown. Absolutely. And Raven says they're fearful of them, the chiropractors. Yeah, a lot of people are, because in the old school chiropractors, they used to jerk and yank and pull and carry on. They're not so much anymore. Find a chiropractor that has worked with the Palmer method or gone to the school for Palmer method, and it's innovative. It's really innovative. It's more massaging and manipulation. It's massage and manipulate, massage and manipulate. If you get those kind of people, that's why I network. I find people that I will work with because I've used them and I know how their technique is. So that's why it's important to find a good network. Okay, good questions, good comments. Okay, try to move that again. It won't move. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're going to go through each chakra, and I'll try to go quickly because I know time is getting, there. The root chakra is at the base in the growing area. But I basically, and whoever asked about flower essences, here are some of the flower on each one of these. I printed out each one of these charts and I have them in a notebook. The flower essence that you would use for the root chakra Now, there's tons, but these are a few. Is corn, clematis. How do you say that? Did I say it right? Clematis? Clematis and rosemary. But here's what I want to really bring out is the physical dysfunction, because this is what we do as a practitioner. We work with physical. So here are the things with the root chakra that it talks about. Now, I picked up some information from different sources. So some of them might have stuff added to it, like the charts we've already seen might have stuff added to it, and some might not. So don't get overly crazy about, like, that chart showed something different. But here are some things that you can work with. Lower back pain, sciatic, varicose veins, tumors in rectal, depression, immune-related disorders. And Mary, you can pipe in any time you want to on these.
You know what? I believe in the chakras. I'm not real good with them. So I will if I have like one feeble attempt. But
Well, at any time. And anyone over here, too, in the class, please. Because I am not an expert on any of these. That's why I said my disclaimer in the beginning is I'm no expert. It's just things I use. The second chakra, as you can see right here, is the sacral. And the sacral, the physical part of that is lower back pain, sciatica again, OBGYN stuff, so female stuff, pelvic pain, libido, urinary problems. And these are just a few. This is not the whole, the whole gamut of things that it works with. These are just the basics. And again, here's your flower essences that can work with them. I should have put in essential oils, but I didn't. Indian paintbrush, lady slipper, and hibiscus. So I think with the root chakra, frankincense is a really good one. So, and I'm trying to give you time to take pictures, so forgive me if I'm going a little too slow. Solar plexus, third chakra, right at the navel, okay? Its physical dysfunction is stomach ulcers, intestinal tumors, diabetes, pancreatitis, big one.
that's a biggie, yeah.
It is. Adrenal, another big one right here, is that one. And I'm going to say even colon, because that's becoming more and more prominent all the time. So I'm not saying that if you balance these chakras that all that's going to go away. I'm going to say that if you balance these chakras, then the herbs that you're going to give to them are going to get deeper. Deeper, and they're going to dig further and just a little bit deeper healing. Flower essences for this one, chamomile, golden yarrow, and peppermint. And peppermint, you can get anywhere. I would get good flower essences, but I mean, there's some good stuff in the yarrow. Okay. The fourth chakra is the heart, right in the middle of the sternum. And that one is heart conditions, asthma, lung, and breast cancers, pneumonia. Here's a lot. Upper back and shoulder problems. Who'd have thought that in a heart, I have a shoulder problem that I've had for a long time. Guess what? I have this huge wall around my heart. The correlation. I've been in therapy. I've been in everything. I won't take their medications, and I won't take their I won't do their surgery. I tore up my right shoulder. I can't even say it. Shoulder, thank you. My right shoulder. Huck and hay about 6 years ago, maybe 7 now. And it's been in a sling on and off, but I have a hard time keeping it in place. Why? Because I have a wall around my chakra, and I know that if I could just get that shoulder problem would probably ease up a little bit. Flower essence, holly, poppy, California wild rose. And there are others. You can look them up, but these are the most common that chakra balancers use. Fifth chakra is the throat, the dreaded throat. Physical, sore throats. And we're talking chronic. We're not talking your common sore throat. We're talking chronic sore throats, chronic ulcers, scoliosis, swollen glands, thyroid. That's thyroid. That's what I'm doing my dissertation on, is the thyroid. Oh, voice problems, gum, tooth problems. Oh my gosh, tooth problems. If your thyroid doesn't keep your body temperature at the appropriate place, it kills the roots. Am I correct on saying that?
It kills the nerve.
That's what I mean, the nerve. And so you have tooth problems. So guess what I have? I have lost, when I was pregnant, I lost all my back teeth. So I only have from the middle part all the way forward. And I've had a thyroid problem all my life. And was able to balance it, got it great, doing wonderful. Then about 3-4 years ago now, all of a sudden, boom, within 2 weeks, my thyroid was only working about 20%, and I've been fighting it since. So I think some of it's a mental thing with me, with some stuff.
Probably rather than a mental, say emotional. Because mental
Okay.
sounds like your whack job, which we know you are a whack job.
Well, there you go.
No, but emotional. Because I know this is just a pet peeve of mine, but whenever someone says mental, I think in the mind.
Like a schizophrenic or something?
Emotions.
Yeah.
No, but only that it's in the mind, like you're thinking something wrong or it's a mental block. But it's not. It's an emotional.
It is emotional. It really is. And like I said again, the heart and the throat go together. So, that, you know, that I know for a fact that these chakras are an important part to keep balance because I physically myself have to deal with it, and I've had problems with certain things. So, absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so I'm not a mental case. I'm an emotional case. What's the difference in my book?
I tried.
Thank you for trying. Okay, 6, which is the third eye again between the eyebrows. If you've got that chakra's out of balance, here's what you might have to work with is brain strokes. I mean, now I'm not going to tell you because as an iridologist and taking Mary's classes, we know that there's imbalances and there's different things that affect it. What I'm saying is that chakras, if you balance them, will help the areas in which we work with the myelin sheathing and the nervous system and all of that and the fatty acids and stuff. You have to give it because I don't know where I heard it. I may have heard Mary say this, that our supplements, our vitamins and our supplements and herbs are not just vitamins, supplements, and herbs. They are food for the body where they are lacking. And so we have to have those in order to make things work. Without them, they can't. Without them, we can't balance this. So we do have to have a good lifestyle and a good diet, as well as a balanced chakra, a good spine, and we're going to go into a massage for just slightly here. So keep that in mind, that I'm not saying that using chakras and balancing them are not going to take away these problems. They're just going to enhance your herbs. That's basically what I want you to understand is they enhance, oh my gosh, they vamp up your herbs so that the body can use them. Again, flower essence, wild oak, Queen Anne's lace. And I'm not sure how to say that one. Media? Never even heard of that one, to be honest with you. Okay, am I going too fast? Is everybody getting this? I just need to know. So keep mouthing off. Okay.
Yes, you're doing great.
Okay, so the 7th chakra is the crown, and that's not the crown, not by it, like if you're pointing, you know, at your head, where the pituitary or you know, just on the forehead, that's not it. You want to take your finger and point it on the very top of your head, and that's the crown. So the physical part of the crown is depression. Now, I'm not sure what mystical depression is. If anybody knows what mystical depression is, I'd sure like to know, unless it's just that your mind creates stuff. I'm not sure. I really didn't take the time to look that up. But diseases of the muscular system, skeletal system, the skin, chronic exhaustion, not associated with physical ailments. I think that's more mental. Sensitivity to light, sound, and environment. And that would be a crown chakra. Okay, Mary, on sensitivity to light, is that the liver?
Sensitivity to light is usually a lack of B vitamins.
A lack of B
which
vitamins.
is usually intestines.
Intestines. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
There's enough good bacteria.
not enough good bacteria?
Yeah, to make the B vitamins.
Okay. All right. I was just curious of why that would be sensitivity to light and how it could affiliate to the crown. I was just being me. Sorry.
I don't know. Well, it necessarily means sensitivity to the light on your skin, because the
The
melanin
pituitary and the pineal.
Yeah, that's produced by the melanin. So people are, if your crown and pineal chakras are off, you're more likely to get burnt.
I bet that's what it is because, yeah, I bet that is. Okay. I was just curious. Francie's asking, someone mentioned to balance chakras you rub clockwise. Can you explain more? Again, I'm not, I don't work with chakras myself. I send my people out. That sounds funny, but I send them out. I don't do the work in-house kind of thing. But yes, what you would do is you'd put your hands, if you're putting your hands, like put your hands on your keyboard, and you would take your hand, and instead of going you would take your hands and you would rub clockwise. Like when I do aroma touch therapy, I work with the spine with essential oils. And in order to make a connection with that person, you go on the back, you would go over the heart chakra, and you take your hand and you turn it like you're turning a valve, but my thumb are together and my oh my gosh, what is this called? My index finger are together, making a diamond or a triangle, inside. And I just take them and I rub them over that chakra clockwise. And then I go out down to the sacral and up to the top of the head in order to connect with that person. So in order to balance a chakra, you would do the same thing. You would make your triangle, your hands would be touching, and you just take and rub clockwise. And you would do that like 4 or 5 times, really is all you need to do. And then what I do is if I'm working with somebody, I will go on down. Like let's say I'm working with the heart chakra. So I'm in the middle of their chest, and I rub clockwise, or I just turn my hands. All you're doing is turning your hands clockwise. And then I kind of go to the navel. I spread my hands apart. I go to the navel and up to the throat and just hold it there and let that energy flow. And that's basically it. For Sherry saying, if you put your hand on top of the chakra and circle clockwise a couple of times, it is supposed to get the energy flowing. If you put your hand on top, yep, that's what I just said. It's just put your hand on top.
Can I say something too?
Absolutely.
When you go clockwise, you want to go clockwise. Like if someone does it to you, they go clockwise. If you do it to yourself, you go counterclockwise.
Absolutely, yes. And I don't even do that. I don't use both hands. I just kind of rub like you're rubbing your tummy, like, yummy, that was good. That's all I do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing it yourself. You can do Reiki on yourself as well. It's a little shorter time, but yeah. Did that answer the questions? I hope.
Do you touch on the back or the front of the person?
Well, with chakra balancing, it's usually the back. They're usually laying down on their stomach. You can touch either place, but usually the back. Now, with Reiki, they're on their back. But we're not balancing chakras. We're just taking our energy and moving and unlodging chakra wheels. So you can do either one, really, because Reiki, you can flip them over and do it on their back too. So back. I would just say back. It's just more comfortable for the client, person you're working with. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to touch real quick. Any questions on chakras, because we're leaving chakras? Was that enough information for you to at least entice your inquisitiveness, to get your excitement wet?
Okay, let me say this, okay?
All right.
Someone said about the mystical depression. It's depression associated with spiritual development.
Okay.
And then someone said, what is the relationship between thyroid, minerals, and teeth?
Well, you could probably explain it better than I can, but the thyroid and the teeth, the thyroid hormones in the body balance body temperature. They take care of body temperature. And if your body temperature is too low, or even too high, but if your body temperature is too low, the roots in the teeth will actually die, and so you can lose your teeth. You can develop diseases and different kind of things as well. So that's the correlation between the thyroid and the teeth. Am I on the right track? Do you agree with that, Mary?
As soon as the nerve dies, it starts to decay, and you get an abscess too. So yeah, if your temperature's not high enough, the nerve cannot survive, and it dies. And yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, and as far as minerals and stuff, what was the question again?
About the thyroid and minerals. Your
Oh,
thyroid
thyroid.
just has a little wee bit to do with your minerals,
Yeah.
especially
So
calcium.
so you want it. So why don't you go into that, because you're better equipped to answer that question, that part of it.
Well, the only thing I know for sure is there was a study of people that had the thyroid, part of their thyroid removed, and they test different things on them, and partway down the road, and you start seeing that their calcium levels start dropping, and they put them on supplements, and they would come up. So it wasn't that they weren't able to absorb the calcium. It's just that there was something about a connection between the absorption of calcium, or the level of calcium in the body, and having part of your thyroid removed. So I think that's probably what she's talking about there.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean that, and you can even go further than that, and it has nothing to do, with one thing or the other. But calcium issues can also be a pH issue. So it's kind of like again, your body's a symphony, and if one person is out of whack, that throws your whole body off. Same with chakras. If one chakra is out of balance, you can guess that the other chakras are out, because they do work as in harmony with each other. So you want to make sure that just because one chakra is out of balance, you don't go and get just one chakra balanced. You go and you get all of them put back in balance, because it's kind of like if you take a watch and you put your fingers together, and as that watch mechanism turns, if one of those teeth is broken, it throws things off. So that's what it does within the wheels of the chakra as well. Once one chakra is out, the other chakras are going to be off kilter. It doesn't mean they're completely out, but they're going to be off kilter. So I get a full body balance with the chakras.
Right.
I hope that helps.
I have a couple comments there, if you don't mind.
You bet. Please.
Someone says that whenever they learned about doing chakras, it was in the front.
Yeah.
They check them in the back, but they usually manipulate in the front. Another person says, if there is a big imbalance to one chakra, you may need to, rebalance the others. Each chakra affects the others.
Yes.
And that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I didn't realize that until I was done reading it.
Oh, that's okay. Absolutely. If that is so true. And going back up to the other part, the other question, what was that again? The one before that?
It wasn't a question. It just said that the person said whenever they had learned how to do chakras,
oh, yes,
they said that they manipulated or balanced the chakras in the front. They would check in the back, but they did mostly in the front.
Yeah, and like I said, Reiki is done in the front. So I think what it is, it's really preference, to be honest with you, because anytime I've ever been to a chakra balancing or I've had my chakras balanced, I'm always on my stomach. So I think it's just preference of the person, and I think what it is because when you're on your back and someone's over top of you, people feel intimidated. The client on the table feels a little intimidated when they're on their stomach and you're doing work. So I think that might be just preference. I have never, I can be wrong. Like I said, I'm no expert here. I just know what I've been told. I just know that there's a particular method in which to balance the chakras, whether it's front or back. I don't think it matters. You just have to make sure.
And someone else said, yeah, you have to. These things are not like, oh, we need 10 cc's of this.
Right.
A lot of it is a spiritualness and art.
Intuitiveness.
Yeah, intuitiveness, you know. The people that I know that do this, a lot of times they pray ahead of time, like you said you did, and they go by what they feel inspired to do.
Absolutely.
Because someone else just said the way that I learned to do chakras is to take the hand counterclockwise and throw it away. Then go clockwise again to get the energy flowing again.
there's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's a wrong way as long as you're doing it. But again, remember when I talked about, and I do this, and I have to tell you, I do this in the shower every morning. I'll start at my feet and I start pulling all the negative energy that I might have, and I start going up my body and pretending like I'm pulling it out of my body, and I pull this negative energy out and I throw it out, and I try to throw it out the window. And then I ask, but here's the problem. I have a lot of practitioner friends that are motion code practitioners, and there's nothing, I love a motion code, but what takes place is that they don't ever feel that emptiness that they took all that crud out. They don't ever fill it back up. So what I've learned to do is I just pray and just say, Lord, fill me with your light and fill me with all of the goodness and all the positive. And I just kind of start from the top and I go right down to the feet and I just fill myself back up. So I think that, you know, making sure you've got to do what you have to do. Like Mary said, it's all on, here's your outline, now individualize it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how this is all. You're right. There's no prescription that if you do it this way, or if you miss this particular way of doing it, this isn't going to happen. Well, that's not true. So it's pretty giving. It's very forgiving, actually. So just find your balance, and that's really what it is who are you spiritually, who are you chemically, who are you mentally, who are you physically, and find who you are and use what fits you, that you can be a tool used to manipulate what you need to manipulate in that person. And I'm not talking the type of manipulation of fraudulent. I'm talking about manipulate of getting the job done. Okay, so because the action to get the job done. So always just be real open, and closed-minded people, it's real hard to deal with. So I try to tell everyone that when I'm working with them is just be open-minded, especially when you're muscle testing. Be open-minded so that you can allow this to come in and learn to do it your way. So my last word, your way. Oops, sorry. Massage therapy and kinesiology. The benefits of massage. I'm only going to touch on it just this one little slide or two, and that's it. But I do know that massage can move. It can create different vibration. I don't know if we have any massage therapists out here. They could probably tell me more because I know nothing other than what my friends tell me that are massage therapists. They can work with lymphatics. They can work with the energy flow in the body. But it also is just a tool. And I just threw this in because this is what I use also as far as when I'm working. It's a whole package kind of deal. And if someone is in need of, if I'm working with them because they can't sleep and they're tense all the time, of course I'm going to work with their liver and do other supplements and stuff and herbs. But let's enhance it. So I'll tell them, you know what, you're a real good candidate for a massage. It's going to help you with the anxiety. It's going to help you with your quality of sleep. It's going to give you more energy. It's going to improve your concentration, your circulation. I mean, the whole bit. And so I like to throw massage in because it really is a really super cool modality. And it has a lot of pluses that can help the body and keep balance as well. So that's basically really I think I have one more slide on it, but if anybody's got anything to add to it, that's great. Let's see if I can make that slide. Okay, so here's what it can help. It can help and alleviate back pain. It improves the range of motion. It really does help because it improves the circulation, so that with that circulation, your range of motion can, it's just a little better. It's a little more, you're more, what do I want to say, limber. It can help. I don't know how this would correlate. Maybe some massage therapists can help a little bit, help erase or help with medication dependence, maybe with lymphatic or just, I'm not sure how that fits in there. Enhancing the immunity, stimulating the lymph. I love a good lymphatic massage because I have lymphatic problems. I use my trampoline all the time, but With some of the other issues, it's a constant problem. Even though it's not harsh, it's not bad, but I have the most beautiful lymphatic rosary in my eyes. My eyes are gorgeous blue, and but I've got this beautiful little puffy clouds all the way around my eye, which, you know, I think is pretty, but it's not so pretty when you know what the deal is. It's not yellow, it's not any color, it's just white. But I can't, no matter what I do, get that to
Well,
move.
that's emotional too. You know that, right?
I do.
Self-protection. If you feel that you have to be self-protected.
Well, that's where the trust issues come. Yeah, true. That's true. I do know that, but I want it gone. So I do go get lymphatic massages so that it will help that lymph flow a little bit while I'm jumping on my trampoline. You know, you can jump your brains out on a trampoline and see nothing. So I do work with the emotional. Again, I am working with that heart chakra and that little wall that I've got built up. Exercise. I'm not sure how stretch marks are helped, but other than maybe circulation. Increases joint flexibility, lessens depression and anxiety, pumps oxygen and nutrients into the tissues because of the movement and the constant stippling of muscles and organ, or what am I saying, underneath the skin, capillaries and stuff. Post-surgery adhesions, it helps with that. Relaxes and softens injured, tired, overused muscles. I mean, that's what most people go for. Here's a really cool one, is it really does help release endorphins. So you think your body's not getting any exercise when you're doing a massage? Get a really good massage, and it feels like your body has been through some exercise. And it's a good feeling, but you do know. Assists in shorter, easier labor, especially for expectant mothers. I know that my daughter, when she was pregnant, throughout her whole pregnancy, she got massages and chiropractic, and it really, really helped. And it improves the condition of the largest organ, the skin, because of circulation, I believe. So in summary, kinesiology has other names, such as muscle response testing, like MRT. It has 3 parts: applied, which is what we usually use, clinical, and behavioral. And we can use behavioral because that's part of the chakras as well. And there are several techniques. We learned the fingers, we learned the arm, we saw the feet and legs. I've never heard of the toes, but I do know that they use them. In conjunction to kinesiology, there are other modalities that you can use. And we went through the chiropractic, massage therapy, chakra balancing. I didn't go through acupuncture, but that is a great way to open up meridians, energy meridians, because with the size and the placement of each little needle, it causes a vibration to go through, and it kind of jump starts organs. I've had it done on my thyroid several times. They even put a little thing in my ear where there's a pressure point for thyroid, and left it there for not a needle, but a little tiny button thing that they put in that spot, and I've left it there for about 3 days. So it's free. It's free to use. You doesn't even have to pay for muscle testing. So, you know, it really is. It's an awesome tool to use to help enhance the other modalities in which you use. So what I do want to say is kinesiology is not a diagnostic tool. Those who use it for diagnosis are medical MDs that use it in the kinesiology world, as far as therapists, physical therapists, and sports medicine. But in our world, we do not diagnose. So, are there any questions?
Actually, there's a comment here.
You bet.
In theory, muscle testing individual herbs is more accurate. So, doesn't it confuse the issue to test multi-formulas? Oh, I see. So in other words, she's saying, you know, if you test individual herbs, you can see, but how about formulas?
I have no problems. Matter of fact, I use it with all of Nature Sunshine, which I like their product because they are formulated with different herbs that use liver cleanse, for instance, has beetroot and other things in it, and I like it because I think I made this comment the other night, was when there's the synergy of the same root that's working for the same purpose, you have power there. So I don't think so. I believe not. Someone else may disagree, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But I have great testing results with Nature Sunshine combinations.
Well, Wendell Whitman was well known. Matter of fact, he's the one that did Solomon Wiki, the one that Raven was talking about. Stay in line for waiting for him. And after he would individually test you for herbs, like something for your thyroid, something for whatever, he would have you hold them, all of them, and see if there's going to be any disharmony among the herbs.
Yeah. So to me, yeah, that kind of answers the question then, really. So yeah. So here's your websites that I used, the videos that I used, and the publications that I got some of the things out of down here. Your body doesn't lie, and then Touch of Health by John F. T. I think it's D. Is how you say his name, and so that's there for you. And I want to thank you. I hope this was worthy of your time.
This was absolutely amazing. This is my favorite kinesiology class I've ever had. And people are saying, thank you, it was great.
Good, I'm glad. Because I can get a little technical and talk a lot, but kinesiology is not the easiest thing to teach on a website.
Oh, my.
Huh?
No doubt.
Yeah.
It isn't.
So, but thank you for your wonderful comments. I appreciate
rock
that.
Star, they said.
Oh, well, it's my very first webinar, so online webinar. I teach all the time, but I teach where I can see their eyeballs, you know, and their facial expressions and their body language, so I know if I'm needing to change something up or whatever, but yeah. So, but thank you so much. I really do appreciate your comments, and I really do hope that you got something out of it. If nothing else, you know, just practice, 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 practice. That's what you have to do. So.
Yeah, no, this was amazing. I could
Well, Mary.
whenever you said someone could spend years, because the other classes I had, I didn't know. I didn't know all this. You know, they didn't go into all this. And I can see now how it takes somebody sometimes up to 4 years to get really proficient at it.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, I'm no expert. I just use it. And it's just what I've done. So you have seen what I do, and I'm not an expert in chakras. I'm not an expert in any of that, but I get excited, and I guess that helps. So, but thank you, everyone. I so appreciate it. And this was a blast. I really have to say it's a blast. I've never done a online. It's a challenge for me because I don't see your eyeballs, but yeah, but it's great.
You did great. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, anyway, any questions before we go? I want to thank Mary so very much. She's hosted this, and she wouldn't let me put her name and number on the page here, but I appreciate you so very much and your enthusiasm and your...
I learned it. I got a free class. This is worth more than anything. Sherry and a couple people asked if they can get CDs of this, and we recorded it. And Victoria, could you call me about 10 minutes after or 5 minutes after we hang up?
Sure.
I want to make sure yours is recording to see which one might be recording. Because mine kind of flickered for a while, so I didn't know.
Okay, yeah, it's so far so
good. People would be interested in the CDs, so they can email you for the CDs?
They can. Yeah, as long as they pay for the class, they get the CDs. So I'm good with that.
Okay, Victoria?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, could you do this with Join Me?
I don't know. We could try it sometime and see.
Yeah. Okay, just wondering.
Yeah, okay.
It was great. Thanks, Vic.
You're welcome. Thank you, Raven. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mary. I appreciate it. And y'all have a great Saturday, and we'll be back next week for what? What are we doing next week? What system?
I think the digestive system.
And we have, are you doing pH? Is it pH that you're doing on Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
And
then a second class for iridology on Thursday.
Okay. So if you have never been to her pH class, it's intense. You learn so much. Please, please, please register and come on in. And her classes are a whole lot different because she makes lots of pictures and and stuff, and she just keeps it alive. So I like her teaching. So if you haven't been to her classes before, please give it a try.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okie dokie. Well, we will see you all hopefully in the class soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Talk to you all later.